Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ESL Premiership powered by Intel. My name is Dinko. I'm going to be joined by Hawker yet again, another day of the Prem. It's time to continue this competitive season.
Yeah, time to get into it again. Like you said, we've got plenty of games coming up today, plenty of games throughout the season that have been great. Hopefully these can continue to live up to the hype, Dinko.
Yeah, well, we've already had some incredible matchups, like you said, but we're going to take a closer look at last week's results to remind ourselves of the scores. And obviously, we had some crazy upsets. I think the first one was definitely the most surprising, with Endpoint not really showing up against the Pensioners.
Yeah, that was a big win for the Pensioners, finally getting their first win on the board. That's something they needed, and hopefully they can take that confidence into this next week, because they're going to need to get more wins on the board if they want to climb those rankings.
And well, Reason Gaming took on VAC 16-14. Not the result Reason Gaming were looking for. It looked good for them early on, but VAC definitely clawed their way back in, with the fresh firepower of Emil Shine being added back into the team. VAC look a little bit more potent, but again, no win for them, unfortunately. They still stand with only 3 points. Eidos GG versus Nerd Rage was our match to watch for the day, and it didn't really live up to the hype like the other two matches. Nerd Rage did win 16-10 with a pretty good start, Alex, overall.
Yeah, pretty good from them, but overall Nerd Rage able to get that victory over the line. Solid 16-10 win, which I'm sure they will be happy with.
Yeah, and we'll look at the standings now at the moment to see which way it's standing in the regular season. With all these results going all over the place, it's very difficult to sort of tell where we're going to be looking at with the teams at the top towards the end. Still, Reason stay at the top, and well, this is definitely a competitive Prem, but just looking at the points overall.
Yeah, very close at the top. 3 teams on the exact same amount of points, but Endpoint are not with them at the top right now. They're down there in 4th. That's got to be one of the biggest shocks of the season. Yeah,
it's definitely a very weak-looking Endpoint at times. You know, they've lost twice to Nerd Rage a couple of weeks ago, and obviously last week they lost to the Pensioners. So not exactly the Endpoint we were expecting, but we'll see if they can turn up a little bit later on today. But these are crazy results, Alex, across the board. And if you guys want to talk about these results and sort of have your say on social media, you can do that if you head over to ESL UK. We're ESL UK on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you use. And again, we always like the Twitter one, Alex. I think that's the best for CS, but you guys can head over with the bar below. Just follow the social media links, and you can interact with things like the top play, the player of the week. There's lots of things you can interact with, plenty of polls to get involved in. And well, that does bring us on to our action that we will have today. We've looked at last week, we've seen the results of last week, and now we get to look on to what we can be excited about tonight.
A couple of good games coming up tonight. Firstly, Eidos versus Endpoint, which is actually an important game for the standings. Both teams on the exact same wins. You've got to think that Endpoint will be trying to step it up, trying to make sure that they can get back to their winning ways. And then Pensioners against Reason. Even though the standings look very different between these two teams, Pensioners seem to have found their form last week. So that one could be closer than you might expect as well.
Yeah, the Pensioners obviously had a few changes to their roster last week that delivered a lot more firepower. In particular, Shady was showing up and hitting a lot of shots, so the Pensioners definitely need to keep that form going. Perhaps their win last week will allow them to have confidence against the likes of Reason, who are currently in that #1 spot. CEX versus Nerd Rage, our game to watch, our match to watch tonight, Alex. CEX versus Nerd Rage, 2 exciting young teams, and these are 2 of the most exciting teams within the Prem overall, right? Because Nerd Rage coming into this, they started as the Chets, they beat Endpoint, they come into this looking flawless last week as well. I think this team are definitely a dark horse for the Prem.
Yeah, and they've clearly been noticed for some of their results, like you said, as they've now moved on to Nerd Rage. They've got a new organization under them, which is going to be great for them. And this is definitely the matchup where we get to see which of these up-and-coming teams is really going to be challenging for the top spot, which is always exciting.
Yeah, we've had a lot of close games as well, CX being a part of those. So we'll see if they can take the fight to Nerd Rage tonight, and we'll see where we end up. But that should be a good one. And that is not until later on. We've got 3 incredible matchups coming up tonight, but we start with Eidos versus Endpoint. 2 teams that, for me, are very exciting to watch for 2 different reasons. Endpoint, a very stable team within the Prem. They're always here. They've won the most seasons under this organization, have won the most seasons Prem out of every team in the UK. And the likes of Eidos, brand new players, and I'm excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, and quite often when we see these new teams come into the Prem, it feels like they're just unfortunately not on the same level as the other teams. But that's not been the case here. Eidos have picked up some good wins to start this season off. They've got to go up against Endpoint now, which might be a whole different challenge, but we have seen success from some of these players. Artist is someone who likes to play pretty aggressive, likes to try and take over the game at points, and he's been able to do that. And then Giraffe's had some solid performances as well. So definitely a couple of players to watch out for on this Eidos squad.
Yeah, definitely new names maybe for you at the bottom, but we're getting more familiar with them as the weeks go on and getting to learn which players really pop off. Now, moving on to Endpoint's roster, you know these players, they're very experienced. And for me, what's the most exciting part about this team is that everyone can show up. Everyone can be a solid individual. We've seen that last week with Mighty Max having some plays. Even in their online results, Mighty Max was playing really well, and he's obviously the in-game leader of the team. But is there anybody on this lineup that really stands out for you, Alex, to be a player to take a look at?
Yeah, I think in the past for this Endpoint squad, it's always been Thomas who's been the real standout fragger, but he's taken not a backseat, but more of a lesser role, I guess you could say, because some of the other players have been stepping up around him. We've had games where Crucial has been incredible. Yeah. Robin, we know, is always solid, but Surreal is another one who has been super solid throughout the season. And then, like you said, Mighty Max has been showing up sometimes. So it's been much more of a team effort this season from Endpoint.
Yeah, but they have been bleeding, right? There has been times where they look super weak. And that is shown in their 2 losses that we have already got against teams they should be beating, right? It's not like their rivals, CEX, trying to take them down and the closer teams towards the top. It's the likes of the Pensioners who are currently at the bottom, right? These teams should not be beating Endpoint. So coming into today, I think they've got to make a statement. They did last week. You know, the week before, they showed up when they lost to the Chet's roster, which is now Nerd Rage. They came back and won 16-2 against FAC. So this team just need to find that consistency within the Premiership. We know they're a solid team. They've made it to MDL. They're playing an online tournaments and playing very well. It's just they need to find that consistency against teams they should be beating.
Yeah, exactly. Their results outside of the Prem suggest that they should be dominating here, but it's not been the case in some of these games, like you've been saying. Couple of close losses in there, but sometimes they have shown the flashes of that old Endpoint, like you said, in that Dust 2 game where they won 16-2. We just saw Thomas taking over. We saw all the players taking over, really, which is what they're capable of.
Well, speaking of maps, it's time to get them in. The map veto, we'll see where we'll be playing this digital battle. And when we come to Endpoint, they're the team that definitely should have the favor here, right? They're a team that practice. They're a team that should have all that work put in and have a deeper map pool. But we've seen even that might struggle a bit. So Train coming through as a ban for Endpoint. Straight away, they've lost in that already this season. Dust 2 coming in as a ban from Eidos. Not feeling comfortable going against Endpoint on an individual level.
Yeah, I think these bans make sense. Endpoint have played a couple of Train games this season, but like you said, it's looked a bit shaky for them, and Eidos have already played Train 3 times with some good success, so that makes sense. And then for Eidos, I think banning Dust 2 has to be the right call after what we saw Endpoint do previously.
Yeah, exactly. They do feel very comfortable on this map. We see it come through all the time. But yeah, Dust 2 getting banned through by Eidos does leave Mirage to be banned by Endpoint, so they get rid of another puggy map. Eidos getting rid of Inferno.
Okay, so we've got a fair few tactical maps left in there. We've still got Overpass, we've still got Vertigo, so this shows that Eidos are definitely willing to try and play as a team and tactically up against Endpoint, which I think is good for this Eidos squad, because they have shown that willingness to play together as a team. They have had pretty good team play in some of these games.
Yeah, they definitely have, and I think that's the exciting thing about this Eidos team. They seem to be working together well, putting the practice in alongside being good individuals, and that's something UK teams sometimes struggle with. But there we go, Alex. That's exciting. That's a good way to start things off.
There we go. So these are 2 of the few teams that have played Vertigo so far this season, which is nice. So we get it on the board. Endpoint played it against CEX. They won that 16-13. But I think we've got a different version of Vertigo Dinko, which I'm sure will be a talking point.
Yeah, I haven't actually got to cast this new version just yet, so this is going to be exciting to see how this one plays out. Whether or not both teams have put a lot of practice into this, I don't know. I think at this point, you can't really be too comfortable with the meta on this map at all. So it's going to be very experimental. We're going to see a lot of interesting plays when the teams have come up with new smokes, new ideas on how to take that B bomb site. That's certainly going to be interesting to take a look at.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of map where if Eidos have put their prep work in, they could come out with some real surprises. They could come out and surprise Endpoint and shock them. So there's definitely chances here, I think, for Eidos to come out with some new stuff. And if they do that, this would be a huge win because they're level with Endpoint right now. And I think this is the time where Endpoint really need to step up and really need to get some results on the board.
Well, that's the thing, right? Endpoint can't afford to fall off today. You know, they've already lost twice. They basically can't lose anymore. They have to go forward and win flawlessly to keep those spots high. And for Endpoint, their goal was to come into this and probably just walk through the Prem without many issues, but they clearly have a lot of them. And while they might just be exploded here on Vertigo, I really don't know if this is a good idea for Endpoint to let this slide. I'm kind of against it for the main reason that, you know, you really don't know what Eidos have done on this map. It's definitely a coin toss, right? Because Endpoint should be more comfortable on pretty much every other map within the pool against a team like Eidos. But Vertigo, very experimental. And I'm not a huge believer in those results. There we go.
Okay.
They are changed around. They did not make sense at the start there.
I was about to say, maybe the fans at home know something we don't.
Yeah.
Maybe they know what Eidos have been up to. But no, it is Endpoint who are favored in this one, which makes sense. They have been a Vertigo team in the past, so you'd expect them to still have a base understanding of the map, even if it has changed a fair bit. That A site is still pretty much the same, so they'll have those executes onto the A site, I'm sure, which I'm sure will still be pretty useful on this version of the map too.
Also, the main difference was that A-bomb site, right, is that wooden panel has been changed into metal. So it's very difficult to spam through now at this point. It has been changed. I think that was a little bit ridiculous, to be honest, the amount of spam we were seeing through that wall. So I'm kind of a fan of that change. But yeah, it's still going to play pretty similarly towards that A-bomb site. B is just a completely different story. Now, at Endpoint, you did bring up the point that they were a very good team before. They've willingly played it on a much higher level as well. So I cast the tournament way back in the start of this year where they made it to the grand final when they were playing as Phoenix before Endpoint picked them up. They were playing in a grand final of a tournament against Heroic. They looked good on Vertigo, actually. They brought a good fight to Heroic. So certainly a team that have potential on this map, and certainly one that Eidos should give a lot of respect to.
Yeah, you've got to think that Eidos will have given them the respect on this, though. You've got to think that they have also put some time into this map, because they must know that Endpoint have played it a fair amount in the past. So I'm excited to see what Eidos show us, especially because they have been a team that's been willing to play some of the more tactical maps, like a lot of trains in there. That suggests to me that maybe they will have some success here on Vertigo. Maybe they will have some cool stuff. And like we were saying earlier, if Eidos can come out with some surprises here and actually end up beating Endpoint, that's going to be huge for the standings, because there's not much time left for Endpoint to actually get themselves back up to those top 2 spots we expected them to be in.
And it's exciting, right? Because usually at the Prem, we just see one team at the top, unbeaten, just beating everybody. It's very boring to watch. But now we've got everyone fighting for that top spot. We're getting deeper into the weeks, and it's still continuing. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Endpoint can bounce back here, because if they can, it's going to be very difficult to recover. And like you said, there's so many teams hungry for that top spot and so many that are capable of it. So we've got a very exciting Prem, and we are about to jump into the game very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting into the action. We're just waiting for players to get on the server, which they should be on very shortly. We can get into the action on Vertigo. I'm really looking forward to just seeing these changes come through. We've had a lot of changes. Obviously, the Krieg is different. The price reduction in the M4A1S, and then the SMG, the Bison has been buffed. So many changes, Alex. There's lots to be excited about here.
Yeah, and even the map changes on Vertigo, I think we have to talk about a bit before we get into this game. From what I've seen from the couple of games so far, the biggest difference has obviously been in mid, which is now much more important to take control of. You can start to see splits to the B site. I'm kind of interested to see how CTs deal with it as well, because you've got the risk of the A execute and the mid plays and the B splits. There's a lot you have to deal with on Vertigo now.
Yeah, plenty to deal with indeed. And well, Vertigo is what is coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Eidos taking on Endpoint. Endpoint find themselves in 4th place on the standings, Eidos in 5th. And this is going to be a battle between these two teams. Now, Eidos coming into this, we've already highlighted, are a team that shouldn't exactly be favored to even play close against the likes of Endpoint. But Endpoint have shown there are weaknesses in their roster. We'll see if they can bounce back here, and with a strong showing, it's going to be 3 sets of Kevlar on the backs of Mighty Max Surreal, and now Crucial picking up as well alongside Thomas, Smoke, and a defuse kit here for Robin. And over on the T side, 3 sets of Kevlar, plenty utility on Artist and Jay Steffo.
You can already see the change from Endpoint's CT setup on this pistol round alone. They've stacked so heavily on the B site, which is something you would almost never see on the old version of Vertigo. But there are 3 or 4 players on this B side of the map, and Eidos taking a bit of early information at mid, a bit of early information gathered, but they're playing it slow here and biding their time with these 2 sets of nades in their back pockets. This might just end up being that standard A execute dingo, which we used to see so often on every iteration of this map, it feels like. What a shot from Mighty Max.
Well, Mighty Max starting things off well. It's going to be a 5v4. Endpoint holding on with the advantage, and usually when we see this advantage come in on the CT side, it's very difficult to recover from. So you need to be very careful here in pulling this back for Eidos. Mighty Max in the middle of the bomb site will not get anything more done as Artist takes his head off. Now they can get that bomb planted and hold on as Crucial runs over the top. Dutchman landing a headshot back into a 4v3.
Ooh, Surreal rushing onto the bomb site. Doesn't go for the headshot, but he gets the kill. And Jay Steffo has got 3 more players against him. First headshot's good, but the bomb is being defused as we speak. Jay Steffo can't get anything going. Surreal with 2 shots to the chest in that round. Closes it out for his team. The A retake works for Endpoint. They fight for the site a little bit. They have some early trade kills, and then they don't let Eidos get back into those good post-plant positions. So even though they concede the bomb plant, I think that's basically how Endpoint planned the round. The retake works out well for them.
Works out very well for them. Couple of Tech 9s have started to really show up now with the changes. It's good to see it back in action. Good to see a little bit of Tech 9 usage. Artist is going to be the man picking it up. P250 for Giraffe. Deagles for the rest, alongside Zeth picking up a CZ. Over an Endpoint, it's going to be 2 MP9s, 2 M4A4s, and a FAMAS. Robin swings to the right, but is Extinct, who takes his head off, and a man advantage picked up for the T side.
Yeah, that's the risk you can run now by playing solo mid. Robin just gets caught by a Deag. He only had the MP9, so he couldn't really take a very long-range angle either. It's a nice way to get into this round for Eidos. See how they decide to follow it up. Quite a few of their nades used on mid right now, and they're going to split onto this B-bomb site. Mighty Max only good for 1. Thomas trying to anchor this site that he's traded. And Eidos could get this bomb down. Surreal, the last man standing, but he gets 2 kills on the hold. And Artist has got 2 players against him. Great kill onto the first. And now it's a 1v1.
Yeah, 8 HP as well on Surreal. This is winnable for Artist. He'll go up on top, both of them 1 bullet from death. And while Artist has the advantage, he has the high ground, and Eidos still win it. Not really needed there for Surreal, but he gets caught in the open. An easy kill for Artist picked up. 1-1, Eidos. Win off the back of just pistols.
That's how quickly you can burst through mid onto the B site as well. With this new position that's been added at mid, you can quickly go over, I guess you call it the little construction area there. It's hard to call anything construction on Vertigo because the entire map is a construction site. But I think that's what people are calling it, the little construction area of mid. You can split through that and burst onto the B site so quickly. So the pistols there get it done for Eidos. And now Endpoint have got to try and win with pistols of their own.
I suppose we could just call it a new thing. I think people would be quite aware.
New thing, yeah, that's a good name.
Then when it becomes old,
it becomes the old thing. Yeah.
Maybe the pensioners would be favoured on that one. Well, the flash goes onto the side. Extinct is going to push up with Seth. And while Extinct loses his head, he was the man to open things up with the Deagle in the previous. This new wooden panel being added is going to allow Seth to take cover, but it doesn't matter because he overextends and Surreal takes him away. Now a 5v3, a 2-man advantage in play for Endpoint. Artist has got himself in behind. He could be an absolute nuisance here to Mighty Max, and oh no, he doesn't see him. Mighty Max takes him away, takes a free kill, and a rifle to boot. It's going to be Giraffe and Jay Steffo trying to recover this nightmare round for Eidos.
Oh, Surreal's taking control as well. He's already got 2 kills on the round, and the AK delivers the 3rd. Giraffe finally trades him out, but it might be too little too late here. That's the first frag of the round for Eidos. 2nd kill delivered onto the B site as he goes on in.
Well, Giraffe checks up on top of the sandbags. It's going to be Robin that takes him away with a CZ. Giraffe's dropped, and well, Endpoint 2-1 on the board. Take a look over what Eidos have to bring to the table, and it's absolutely nothing. Might even see a force buy come in. Yeah, there we go. Well, obviously Artist did get a little bit of extra cash, so he can afford an op, so at least that's something they're bringing to the table. And Max 10 to Tech 9, couple of Deagles in play. Certainly a round that can be won, but Artist has a lot on his shoulders.
Yeah, we've already seen that Artist can be the focal point of this Eidos team. Even in that previous round, he had the chance to make the difference, which I think is the positions that Eidos want him to get into. And here we go, the AWP fight goes his way. Great pick to kick things off from Artist.
Yeah, Artist finding himself the opening. Man advantage in play for Eidos. That's exactly the start they needed if this is going to be successful. Now, this position that Crucial is playing is so annoying to play against. When you first play this map a few times, it's very difficult because you can just hide behind that and they just have no idea. Run over the top, find 2 easy kills in the back. It's a really solid spot. It's almost weird seeing Vertigo without that little window.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting boost though over the top of the wooden ledge, and that's a second kill. Eidos doing quite a lot of work here with gimmicky plays, allowing them to find a few picks. They move on to the site with a man advantage on towards B, and Extinctor's going to move forward with a MAC-10. Now he has an AK to play with, and it's Mighty Max left in a 1v3. And Eidos answer back, just an ult but a couple of pistols, and a second round to boot. This is not the start either team would be looking for. It is scrappy, and it's definitely going to favor the T-side economy.
Yeah, it's a game of 4 spies right now, Dinko. But on Vertigo, you have a fair few close-range positions, so that's why the pistols can be so effective sometimes. That's why these SMGs can work out, especially with the way Eidos have been moving into the B bomb site, where you can get up close pretty quickly. Here comes the aggression, though. Surreal spamming away, but he can't connect the shots. Zeth eventually traded out by Robin, who will back away. So Endpoint come away with a 1-for-1 trade early.
Oh, Mighty Max, there he goes. Draft getting picked off. This is just mental, basically. The start of this game is just a little bit crazy. There's a sandbags gap again to play with. There always seems to be some sort of gap you can play with on those sandbags. Steffo walking up towards short shelf. He'll catch one and a second. Well played from Steffo. He's pulling us all the way back. A third kill for him on the A-bomb site. It's only Robin left. And he has done everything here. Steffo, he's going to get a 4K. There we go. Just quick headshots all over the place.
That's what you want to see. Someone else from Eidos taking matters into his own hands, taking the round by the scruff of the neck and coming through with a round win. Huge work from Steffo there. You got to wonder how Endpoint aren't able to get a single sort of crossfire or trade frag there, though. The fact he takes that first fight on ramp solo is a little bit surprising to begin with, and then it just keeps on going. And in this round, Endpoint have finally not been able to go for an investment. We finally get a full eco Dinko, so we might get a bit more normalcy, I guess, put back into this game. Is normalcy a real word, Dinko, or have I made it up?
Normality would be the word I think you would use, but I like the attempt. Going forward is going to catch Surreal. 2-man advantage now in play for Eidos. This one shouldn't be around you'd expect Endpoint to even have a chance in, so it's just very methodical. Eidos don't want to give away anything. Crucial might just grab himself a kill. I thought Artist did hit that, but no, it's Draft, and he turns around and even kills his own teammate. Alright, there's an ult picked up. Draft is just bloodthirsty. Has even turned to cannibalism, Alex.
Yeah, a little bit awkward, but it's all good. Mighty Max might get an AK, though. I'd see what he decides to do with this. They can buy next round, so he doesn't have to save this. Yeah. He's going to look for a kill or two here.
He's going to be checking this angle, though. And Steffo is going to find the kill. Easy plays for him. Mighty Max down 4-2. Eidos finally putting a little bit of normality back into things, Alex, indeed. Putting the rounds together. And we'll see if they can continue that forward. No op, obviously, because that was a little bit of an unfortunate circumstance. Draft actually taking Artist down. They don't have an op to play with. They were certainly wielding that well on the T side.
Oh, so. The run boost. Jeez. Seth just got run boosted from spawn all the way around to this position. That's ballsy.
Yep, Draft is there too to back him up now as well. So clearly, Eidos displaying great practice on the map, and that's exciting to see. And early signs show that Endpoint aren't quite on point today as well. So this is not exactly going to be the start that Endpoint are looking for. Artist is going to get rid of Robin.
A couple of mollies deployed here, but Eidos aren't really going aggressive off the back of them. Now they've got the man advantage. They're happy to slow it down. They've still got plenty of nades left here. We're also seeing Endpoint generally leave that A site pretty weak. Mighty Max is there alone right now. Endpoint have been much more focused on this B site, and even still, Eidos have found a fair amount of success while taking B, and this time it looks like they've got an execute lined up.
Well, utility going on in. It's going to be Eidos showing us what they've got here in the B-bomb site running in before the smokes bloom. It's Seth who does get domed. He was attempting to be the loose entry fragger, trying to take them away, but Surreal forced off the angle, took them all off, but it's Thomas lining up too. He manages to line them up, but it's Jay Steffo right back in. 2 quick headshots, and now it's a 1v1 up against Mighty Max. Smoke begin to dissipate. Mighty Max will walk forward with it. There was the fake tap for the first, but Steffo sticks it on the second, and Mighty Max walks through, headshot collected, and around on the board for Endpoint. But my god, yet again, expensive for both teams.
Yeah, and if Endpoint didn't have so many players stacked onto that B site, they would have been in trouble there, because Thomas had to get a 2-man spray down that really made the difference in that round, that made sure they kept it close in the numbers. If they didn't have so many players stacked on B there, Eidos may have been able to take control of that easily. But Endpoint this time around get the right read on the situation. We'll see if they keep on playing like that, though, because if they continue to play with only 1 player on the A site, for example, that's got to leave the A site somewhat vulnerable. And you can already see a dynamic setup for Endpoint. This time, they've got plenty of players playing on A, and Robin going to have to back away from mid.
Yeah, early on, it was crucial playing in this position, but now Robin has taken out the task of playing middle. Interesting note in that last round as well. Mighty Max ran over an AK about 3 times, didn't pick it up. So perhaps electing to stick with the M4. Jay Steffo. Short shelf is going to catch Mighty Max jumping up, was completely unaware of that possibility. And Jay Steffo is having an absolute blinder of a start here. 12 kills, 4 deaths, incredible performance. Artist gets rid of Thomas. And R4v3. Man advantage here for Eidos.
Oh, not for any longer, though. Robin gets one straight through the smoke. However, the A-bomb site is vulnerable. Robin not able to get there in time. And Crucial has got to lock this down. He's only got 1 kill. USP out as he backs away. He's got time for the reload, so he's back to the rifle here. And Eidos have been slowed down by this player, but finally they find him. Crucial goes down, but he's bought time for Surreal on the rotate.
Look at that damage. 10 HP on Extinct, draft from 46. Surreal sitting back in towards the elevator room. Here's the tap on the bomb. We'll start to move forward with it. He might catch Extinct trying to fall back from the position, but he doesn't. Extinct gets all the way back in towards ramp, and now Surreal, he's got a really difficult task on his hands. Smoke is in front on towards the bomb. He's just going to tap it, not fully stick. He jumps up on top of the box, but that's going to give away his idea as he fails to get up on top. Now the Molotov needs to go through. It needs to land and hit its mark, but it's not happening here for Surreal. This is so well played by Eidos. They're held back, but the push is going through now at this point after the initial tap. Surreal goes back onto the bomb. Yet again tapping. Extinct is just running down the time. Surreal finds the kill, but is there enough time for the defuse? It's going to be close, but Surreal, he might have just done it, and he has.
Well played clutch by Surreal there. He looked pretty for him. He stays cool under pressure. Another clutch round goes the way of Endpoint. That's a good sign for them here. Maybe that experience in the previous round, Surreal wins out for his team in this one. And Eidos are starting to run dry in terms of their money. This will probably be their last full buy here as we see some aggression up through a ramp. Mighty Max, the man caught early.
Mighty Max burning away. Extinct Crucial coming back in. A draft gone, but Thomas landing shots and Artist is picked off. Now it's going to be into a man advantage for Endpoint, looking to try and take the lead. Eidos do have 2 players still standing, but Jay 5 HP. Oh, cool. He is lucky to be alive there.
Okay, Jay Steffo with another great headshot. He is really having a great game right here. We'll see if he can do any more, though, on just 5 points of health. He's brought his team into this round. Eidos just cutting the noise, slowing it down, maybe making Endpoint sweat. Robin's playing this close angle, but he backs away. He might be in trouble here. They're about to swing around this corner. Jay Steffo can't get the kill, but Zeth certainly can. Turned into the 1 versus 1, and Zeth's got time to work with here. He can play between these 2 bomb sites. He's making noise, though, so Surreal should hear those steps, and you can already see the reaction from Surreal.
Surreal. AK on towards the site. Seth is going through the Molotov to clear out the green boxes of the generator as Surreal is forced into the open, running forward onto the bomb site. He'll find the kill, and Seth just unfortunately couldn't get away in time. Surreal cleaning up another clutch round here for Endpoint, 5-4.
Yeah, another clutch for Surreal. Another round where he shoots his opponent's dead body after clutching, showing the confidence in these rounds. That's always one of the issues you have to be aware of on Vertigo, is that you have to be aware of those sound cues you're making as you rotate between those sites. And Surreal was just one step ahead. After hearing Zeth run all the way back over to B, he just sits behind the generator, waits patiently. Those boxes are actually a surprising amount of cover on the B site, so Surreal really had to run in there to get that kill. But it goes his way. Let's see how Robin holds mid, because there was that previous round where Robin got caught here. This time, though, he's got the smoke and a flashbang from Thomas being lined up.
Well, Eidos, they're going to be walking in towards middle. A little bit of a boost going on. But it's boost on boost action here. Robin, oh no, nearly quick switches the wrong time. Luckily, Mighty Max was able to bail his teammate out of that awkward scenario. Now nades can go through, and Artist is going to take significant damage. He can push forward. Jay Steffo, he has been having an unbelievable game, but Thomas will get rid of it.
Oh, Robin and Thomas here between them are getting everything done. Robin's MP9 goes running back into mid, takes the fight to his opponents, and Zeth is not going to be able to get anything done. Endpoint finally stabilizing here, finally establishing themselves. It took quite a few clutch rounds for them, but they're able to get into a 6-4 lead, build up a little bit of money on that CT side, and now they've got the AWP into the hands of Crucial, which could be an option for some aggression. We'll see what he decides to do with it.
See what he has up his sleeve. Oh, well, it's going to be a peek from Crucial towards the bottom of the ramp. It's not going to quite land. It does give away there was an ult plane there, though.
Oh, I like this boost.
Yeah, so Eidos going to be boosting the players up in behind the wood. Now, the wood is going to cover them off so that they can just get a player in behind that and hide. I really like this. This is nice. Just send them over to the top. He's got in past the wall already, and Surreal has no idea. There's players close by, and that's exactly what Draft will capitalize upon. Take it away, Surreal. Extinct catching out Thomas, and a Robin with an easy kill on towards Draft as well. A 4v3, but we go back and forth yet again, but Extinct will make sure that Eidos coming out on top. Mighty Max just sprinting on in on his own. The MP9 and the boost from Crucial paying off. A 1v3 though in total, and he'll move into the site. Artist takes him away, and it's going to be Eidos with a 5th on the board. A lovely little B play there coming off the back of the boost.
Yeah, these are the exact sort of plays we were hoping to see from Eidos after they were willing to go to this map. Just having little tricks up your sleeve to get the advantage in these rounds. And I think that definitely suggests they've done their homework, because I was watching Pro League the other day, and it was Godsent who ran that exact boost to try and quickly burst onto the B site. Here it works really well for Eidos, so they've clearly got some nice tricks available. Crucial again goes aggressive, but this time he can't land a shot.
Well, Extinct takes away Surreal, but Robin trading back. He's aggressive on towards the B bomb site. Now, I think with these changes, we've started to see play like the B aggression not really be a factor. We haven't seen so much B aggression come through as we used to see, on the CT side at least, and Robin changes it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm interested in general if we see more aggression across the map on the CT side, especially at mid. I think there might be some rounds where the CTs want to get aggressive there, but the B-Stairs aggression definitely capable. This is very tense. Giraffe holding on the other side. Here comes the peak, and Crucial almost gets a double kill. Giraffe just about able to find the trade, but there are now 2 Eidos players who are critically low on health.
Oh, Mighty Max is up on top of the boost, and Artist seems to have no idea. Mighty Max just swinging, gonna get the info and drops the bomb. He could be on for more here as they are so low. There's the lineup. Mighty Max with 3 Endpoint. That's the hold they were hoping for.
Yeah, great hold there from Mighty Max in that position. Not a position you're going to use too often because it's very, very vulnerable if you get pushed from the other side there. But sometimes that position is going to work out for you if you throw it in occasionally, and Mighty Max gets away with it. And again, Mighty Max is having a good game individually. Robin, back to this B aggression. This time a bit risky up against the MAC-10s. They could get him close range, but Robin manages to get the first. Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye. Oh, Robin. Here, headshot up onto a Seth. Now it's Artist and JSFO, but look for a 2v4. It's not looking too likely here from our standpoint. So, that's a little wiry bit, and he's going to be picked off. Never mind. Huge advantage, still loses to Tech 9.
Did they get Robin's gun, or did it fall off the map? I'm not sure, but they've got an AK. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Forward endpoint team, but they're still leading the way. But
yeah, big spray down from Thomas. Those nades from Robin did enough damage, so those first 2 kills were very easy. They were very softened up, and that makes it so much easier to control the spray onto the last 2 men. So Endpoint up to a 9-5 lead. And like you said, last round of the half here for Eidos on their T side. I'm slightly surprised we haven't seen Eidos go for a single A execute yet, but Robin just keeps on abusing this B aggression, and he keeps getting away with it as Thomas lines up 2. This has gone horribly wrong for Eidos. Finally, Giraffe trades, but Crucial's there to back up his teammate, and this round's over before it's really even begun. Oh my god, Robin.
10 on the board for Endpoint. Yeah, Alex, but that was...
Yeah, I think it especially feels that way because they had to win, I think, 3 clutches in a row just to kind of really feel like they had their money and they had their feet under them in that half, right? There were 2 clutches from Surreal. There was that 1 clutch from Mighty Max. So there are a bunch of close rounds there where if one of those rounds goes against them, they might get reset. Their economy might be in trouble again. But because they won those rounds, that's why they've actually been able to come out to a surprisingly good amount of rounds on this first half.
Oh, well, if they get a pistol, Alex, it's a perfect start for them. I mean, really in the driver's seat. Endpoint with the utility being purchased up. It's going to be Robin with 2 flashes and a Molotov. Smoking a molly for Mighty Max. Something definitely up the Endpoint sleeve here. The rest of Kevlar, we'll see what they have in store for us here. It is a push in towards middle from pretty much everyone. 4 players straight up mid. Molotov going in towards the new thing, Alex, as I'm going to call it.
My favorite spot. Yeah, loads of nades in. Zeth, though, close range with the CZ, could do damage. They've run past him. Zeth has got players in the back. Quick headshot onto a player that jumps into his crosshair, but it's only the 1-for-1 trade, and they can get onto this B site safely.
Yeah, well, Surreal and Thomas finding headshots on the clock. There's another one from Thomas. He's really started to warm up in these last few rounds, and well, continues it into the pistol. Now, this man is having a blinder of a game. We'll have to try and pull it off. 2 already for him in the pistol, but Jay Steffo with it all to do. Behind the boxes, Mighty Max hides, he peeks his head up, and it's going to be a headshot. 11-5 on the board, as Endpoint will find a little bit more success. They'll continue to move forward. Finding that pistol win puts them in a very comfortable position now, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. Especially on this version of Vertigo as well. We're not entirely sure which side is going to be favored, but from everything I've seen, I think it's probably going to be T-sided, just because you've got more options at mid, and you've still got the options for the A execute. There's a lot you can do now on the T side. So I think Endpoint will be pretty happy with how this is going so far. Nades down the ramp do a fair bit of damage to Thomas. He's down to 44 health, but with only the default pistols, I'm not sure if Eidos will be able to follow up on that damage too significantly.
Well, Crucial is the front man with the MP5. There's going to be a flasher on the corner and a peek up as he takes away Draft. Crucial hungry for a little bit more. Now that he's tasted blood, he'll go in towards the A-bomb site. Not picking off anybody else though. It's Thomas his turn to strike. Well, it's going to be extinct on the USP. Does a lot of damage, taking them away. But Robin grinding out the cash. Mighty Max assisting with the AEK. And it's only Jay Steffo left alive up in the boost box. Not much he can really hope to do here with the P250 unless they run in towards him. And Thomas will duel him, but still win. Headshot picked up with the Galil. And it's going to be 12-5. We are 4 away from victory here for Endpoint in what felt early on like a super close competitive game. But Endpoint certainly showing up now, really getting into the groove of things. And we know how strong their T-sides can be, right? So this is kind of scary for Eidos.
Yeah, this is getting a bit out of control at this point. Eidos are really going to need this round win. Otherwise, they might fall too far behind to really compete here. Smokes down the ramp being exchanged. Robin can certainly hear steps from that position. Endpoint just holding back right now. I think once these smokes fade, we could see some action come through. Giraffe here on the other side. It could be SMG on SMG action. Robin is alone here, but the Molotov is going to clear out this position. Giraffe might be in trouble, but he wins the fight, and the Molotov hasn't spread far enough. Double nade onto Artist. He almost goes down, and they seem very sure that he's in that position. There it is. Thomas gets the kill.
Oh, Jay Steffo though, perfect timing on the flank from behind, but Thomas cleans it up after one casualty. Crucial hitting the deck, but still a 2v3. A real chance here for Eidos to get around on the board. They desperately need it. Draft flanking in from behind on the ramp. There's not a whole lot of time for Endpoint to waste with that flank coming in. They're going to hop up on top of the boxes. I love this play. Mighty Max with the bomb makes the ballsy play to head up on top of the bomb box. Oh my, not like this, Alex. Thomas and Mighty Max, they make it happen. They hold on, and the last 2 kills fall to pieces for Eidos. That was a huge advantage for them, and they let it slip completely. And I think that's just the skill of Endpoint. The mid-round decision-making, and the decision-making even in that clutch overall, with Mighty Max taking the initiative to hop up on top of the box, realizing he needs to get a kill there, and he does so well.
Yeah, it really feels like that's been one of the biggest differences here, is that difference in experience. Okay, Surreal just shooting the dead body. Zeth, who he took down early in the round. Giraffe has got a quick flank going here, though, and Surreal is going to be caught off guard. Thankfully, though, Endpoint have got control of the A-bomb site, so they shouldn't have too many worries at this point. They're about to get the bomb down. Thomas gets a further frag.
Well, there's Crucial with a headshot. Artist picked off. Does leave Extinct into a 1v4. He does have an AK in his hands to do a little bit of damage, but obviously that is the main goal. To take away a few of the rifles, force a few rebuys, but Thomas instantly annihilates him upon sight. So 14-5, we are 2 now away from concluding this match on Vertigo. We don't really get to see Vertigo too often here in the Prem, and we might not get to see much of it, because this round is do or die time for Eidos. They lose this, for me, it's probably over.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment at this point. Not a single round win for Eidos so far in this second half. Early smoke going to the sidewalk position, so the CTs will have a bit more difficulty, and Thomas is able to get a kill off the back of the smoke. Giraffe finally gets the trade, and over on the B side of the map, Endpoint lining up some aggression.
Well, Seth on the back of the B-bomb site, looking to try and show up, looking to try and take away a few of these Endpoint players, but it's not really worked out for him. Surreal just instantly decapitated him on towards the site. Draft sitting back in spawn, the AWP scoped in, looking for a kill. It's going to be Extinct boosted up over the top of construction, looking down in towards the site. Instinct looking for a little bit of action, looking for a kill to go his way, but Crucial's going to be holding on. Draft trying to find an angle with the ult, but they're not presenting anything up until this point. But look at the angle. Mighty Max in the corner, 3 kills picked up. So well played from Mighty Max. He is certainly having a mighty performance as the in-game leader here of Endpoint. They will reach map point, and that has just smashed Eidos down deeper and deeper into the pit of despair.
Once again, Mighty Max having impact rounds, having good fragging on the board individually, which is great for this Endpoint squad, giving them a 15-5 lead and almost no chance for Eidos at this point. Eidos definitely had some signs of success there, especially in that first half. They had some cool tricks up their sleeve, but Endpoint have really just hit their level. And I think this is kind of what we were saying, Dinko. This is where Endpoint need to show up. They need to get wins. And under the pressure, they're probably just going to be able to step it up. And that's exactly what's happened here.
Well, Crucial walking forward on towards the A-bomb site. Surreal holding on for the flank. Artist thinks he's got them, but he's actually going to fall here very quickly. Surreal gets a good read of that. An advantage picked up for Endpoint. Crucial just holding on. That's a nice shot. My God, Draft was not expecting to die there. The smoke comes up, but Crucial hits the shot. So confident. He's going for trick shot. So over the top of the smoke, he'll go right through. This time, Thomas will hit the dust. And now Crucial looking for some style points. Jay Steffel, a player that had an incredible start to this, but was definitely showing up. It's Crucial with everything. And there it is. Endpoint walk away with the win. A huge performance from the team in the end. A very one-sided one that was looking like it was going to be a close game, Alex.
Yeah, that was really dominant towards the end there for Endpoint. They just started taking over. They started, I think, using their individuals and their experience to their advantage. And a 16-5 win is maybe a bit harsh on Eidos, who had some good signs at the start of that game, but Endpoint just winning clutches and just winning out in the end. Yeah,
it's unfortunate to see Endpoint, just not for them obviously, but it's unfortunate to see them just roll over Eidos like that. We were definitely expecting a closer affair. Eidos definitely has some interesting concepts on their T sides, and definitely a good way of looking at the map, but it's just about finding that consistency. I think they lack that killer instinct that Endpoint just had in spades.
Yeah, I also think that Eidos, they had some good ideas over on the B side of the map and at mid throughout that T side, but it did start to get a bit too predictable when they very rarely went for plays over on A throughout that half. I think that they could have maybe just set up 1 or 2 full-on executes onto the A site. That could have worked out for them just to keep Endpoint guessing, because eventually Endpoint started to adapt. They started to be able to hold that B side of the map. But overall, great performance from Endpoint. They'll be happy just to get this win on the board and not have too many problems throughout this game.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of result Endpoint needed. If they had another close one here against the likes of Eidos, I think that's when we started to see a couple of problems for this team, but they definitely showed up. They definitely made the statement that was required of them. Well, now we'll see if they can continue it throughout the Prem, Alex, because now it needs to become consistent for Endpoint. They should be beating everybody in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. The only team that should maybe be competing with them would maybe be Reason. Reason have been able to keep it somewhat close with Endpoint in the past, but the rest of the squads, they should be a whole different level above. So it's kind of nice to see that we're returning to that here a little bit on the Endpoint side of things.
Yeah, when you take a look at that whole game for Endpoint, there was definitely everyone showing up at times, but I think the player that showed up the most when called upon was Mighty Max in important crucial rounds. But then we did see Thomas having a resurgence. He was finding a lot of entries. He was definitely getting a lot of multi-kills towards the end of the CT's half. So yeah, this guy, Thomas, definitely showed up today. And like you said, sometimes he's taking a little bit of a backseat when it comes to these Prem matches, but he's showing up today.
Yeah, and then once they got comfortable, you started seeing the aggression out of Robin as well, just over on that B side over and over again. So really everything got rolling for Endpoint. And when that happens, they tend to have performances like that. But over on the Eidos side, we did again see Jay Steffo step up, which was nice. He had a good Mirage a few days ago. He'd been a bit quiet towards the start of the season, but it's nice to see some of the other names on this Eidos team also show up.
Well, we've mentioned a lot of names, and so you can have your say as to who you thought was the player of the game. The options will be below on the screen, and clearly we've mentioned a lot of players, a lot of different candidates here for the player of the game. We've got the likes of Thomas, Mighty Max, and Jay Steffo, 3 of the players we actually mentioned, Alex. So it does seem that we might have actually known what we're talking about after all, Alex.
Maybe. Sometimes you just take a shot in the dark and you get it right.
But clearly those 3 players are certainly the best performers across the board. And obviously you've got to get a little bit of action in from Jay Steffo. He definitely showed up. It is time for a break though, ladies and gentlemen. While you have your say over at ESL UK Twitter, we can head to a break and then we'll have our second match of the day ready for you. So make sure you stay with us.
Back yourself. You heard me. Don't back a horse. Don't back a stranger. Don't back a man who dresses like a shinobi. Back yourself. You gem. You rock. You star. You train like a pro. You should be paid like a pro.
Parsec lets you play your entire library of games on any device, anywhere, with anyone, at any time. It's easy. Install Parsec and boom, your PC game library is at your fingertips. Are you bored playing solo? Share a link with anyone and go multiplayer. No friends online? Jump into Parsec's arcade and play with people from all around the world. Parsec's available for most things with screens. Download now.
drums in. Bring the drums in.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Premiership powered by Intel. My name is Dinko and I'm going to be joined by Hawker for the rest of this evening. We've already had a pretty one-sided affair coming in from Endpoint. It started off to be a close game, but then they picked up the pace, Alex.
Yeah, we've had a lot of close games throughout this season so far. That wasn't one of them, but hopefully we can turn it around now, Dinko.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get a close game. At least one or two today.
It would be nice to try and change it up a little bit. We have got Pensioners versus Reason Gaming coming up next. Last week, we've seen these two teams have a very close battle. The Pensioners taking down Endpoint last week, which is impressive to say the least. Reason had a close affair against the likes of Vac. So, interesting times for both of these teams. We'll see if the Pensioners can keep it up. They're back to a relatively normal roster here with Laza, Connor, Yuho, Shady, and Jake M coming into the fray here for the Pensioners. Now, this should be a very interesting affair. Taking a look at this team, you know, they have got so much potential across the board, but they are missing a little bit of the firepower they had last week.
Yeah, missing Rigon again, although last week he randomly showed up in the server when we thought he wasn't going to play, so who knows, he could show up from out of nowhere. But as far as we know, this will be the squad. Luz has been pretty solid throughout the season. We know that Connor can be great, so there's definitely some good players in this roster, but like you were saying, not quite as much firepower here as we were maybe expecting from last week, which might be a concern when going up against Reason.
Yeah, and Reason, this roster are packed full of firepower, and definitely a team that you should keep an eye on for maybe from that top spot. They are currently in it at the moment, but if they were to lose today, maybe that will be at risk, because so many teams are even on points, and it's so close. It's the likes of Astro, Fry, Paul, Stanley, and Jenko. And a player for me on this team that has really started to stand out is Jenko. We said it last week, and he performed again there, but for me, it's always nice to watch Fry because he's so consistent. He's always that guy that can show up and you can always rely upon him.
Yeah, I think both Fry and Jenko have been very consistent throughout this season, actually. Jenko, I think, is maybe the only player on the team who's had a positive KD in almost every game that they've played. He's always just been solid, just more kills than deaths, a good player for this squad. And then Fry has had some very high highs, and then he's had some games that have just been decent. But he's definitely a standout for this Reason squad.
Now it's time to talk maps. We've already had Vertigo come in today, which is a little bit of a curveball. Wasn't exactly the first match we would have hoped for, having been a 16-5, but we'll see what maps we got in here. And it's definitely not going to be Vertigo. I can tell you that, Alex, as it's banned straight away by the Pensioners.
Okay, getting that Vertigo out of there, I can respect it. Especially if you've not practiced it, you might as well just get it out of there straight away. Reason going for that Dust 2 ban, they haven't played it so far. You'd think they would be able to be okay on that map with the skill they have, but maybe just wanting to rely on their tactical depth more, which might make sense against a Pensioners team who change players almost every week, it seems.
Yeah, this team are definitely not a consistent force, right? They're always switching in mercenaries. It's going to be Inferno and Train being banned out. Pensioners want to get rid of Inferno. Train being banned out from Reason, one of the more tactical maps that they could have had an advantage on.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we have got ourselves what I always try and think what's left, Dinko, and I always struggle. We've got Overpass, we've got Nuke, and we've still got Mirage in there.
Yeah, we do indeed. And so Mirage could certainly be a map that we have in here, because when you take a look at that map, it's pretty balanced for both of these teams. I think we could definitely see a good match on there. But yeah, Overpass is a map that both teams have been willing to play, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that come through.
Yeah, Reason also, the one time they played Nuke, they won it 16-5 against Nerd Rage.
Okay.
So we are going to the Nuke as well. I wasn't sure if we'd see that, because Pensioners have not really played much of the Nuke. They've played a bit of the Overpass, which ended up getting banned at the end there. I think the biggest surprise for me is seeing the Pensioners ban away the Mirage, though.
Yeah,
I thought they could have taken the fight on that.
They definitely could, and Overpass is clearly a map that Pensioners are very comfortable with, so they always like to leave that in. But Nuke could be very difficult for them. I honestly see a difficult world here for the Pensioners on Nuke. Reason Gaming coming into this are definitely going to be a team you favour overall.
Yeah, so I guess Pensioners this week have got Yuho playing, who I believe is or at least was the in-game leader of one of the Finnish teams in the past. So maybe they think that that's going to help them out on this map. But if you don't have the coordination on Nuke, especially on CT side, those rotations are quite hard to keep track of if you haven't got too much experience with your teammates.
Yeah, I feel like that is always what we bang on about, is the fact that when you have mercenaries pretty much brought into your team every week, it's some different player, you're never going to have that consistency in terms of the synergy and the communication, understanding of the system, what way you want to play. It's going to be different every week. It's going to be completely inconsistent. And yes, it clicked last week, but the thing we always say about the Pensioners is it very rarely clicks. So you can see that most people agree with us. 76% go in favor of Reason. I think seeing the map now as well, we probably see that come through. We have just got information though that Shani is not going to be playing, and that is a bit of a problem here for the Pensioners. Now, I love casting the Pensioners every week here at the Prem, because it's always exciting. It's always, who are we going to get on the team? You know, they submit a roster and then we see something different. And it's Swaggy who will be playing instead of Shani. Now, he played for them last week. He was decent on the entries, but not quite at the level of Shaney. I'm seeing pretty negative signs overall here for the Pensioners.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Shaney has been he's been affected by the quarantine stuff, so he's had a lot more time to practice CS at home. I think he's been grinding it out, and he was getting to a really, really good level against these UK teams. He was consistently putting up big numbers, and even though Swaggy, I think, is definitely a solid player, we've seen him do great things in the past, it felt like Shaney was the in-form man for this Pensioners squad, so that is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a shame indeed, because he was definitely showing up and hitting the numbers last week. But we'll see if the Pensioners can bounce back after that change. And it's going to be the Pensioners starting on the CT side. At least they've got that. They've got the start on the more favored half. They can get that momentum going. They can certainly make this happen, Alex. Reason Gaming, utility picked up on Pulse, but the rest with Kevlar.
And Swaggy, that man we were talking about, has picked up the kit for the Pensioners side of things. I was maybe a bit surprised to see Swaggy pick it up instead of someone like Yuho, but there we go. We will get into it. And Yuho, speaking of the man, steps it up. 3 kills on the ramp hold, and he's got Connor waiting close by. And that has gone about as well as it could have for Pensioners. What a start to the game.
Yeah, that's a great start for the Pensioners. That's exactly what they would like. They need to come out of the gate just bolting as fast as they can, and while Reason not able to stop that at all. And the Pensioners, well, not too much resistance should be brought against them in this next round at all from the Reason Gaming side. When we take a look at what they've got across the table, it's 5 Glocks, Alex, so this should be an easy cleanup again for the Pensioners.
Also worth noting that Luzza has got that silenced M4 on, which I figured we might see from those AWPers who want to be able to have a slightly cheaper M4 and save a bit of extra cash for the future rounds. So that's cool to see Luzza having that in his hands. JKM almost caught in the back, but the bomb will be dropped on the site. Yuho with another triple kill. Back-to-back 3Ks for him in these first 2 rounds. But here comes the buy for Reason. Not a bad buy for them either. They've got pretty good nades across the board. AKs as well.
I love how we've just immediately skipped all the boring rounds at the start and got immediately into the gun rounds. It feels like we haven't even had a pistol and a follow-up. Let's just quickly get this over and done with. Now we get into the real rounds. And while Reason Gaming have got 5 AKs, plenty of utility, good buy, like you said, across the board here. The Pensioners going for a little bit of a bonus, keeping their SMGs in play, weaker weapons in terms of the FAMAS. We'll see if it pays off for them. Stanley, a little bit of a battle of the chickens. It's going to be Connor that comes out on top, and oh my god, nearly gets a second.
Great work from Connor to get away with that one there. Stanley taking a bit of a risk as he tries to take the fight on the edge of the smoke. And Stanley is one of the players that we've talked about being a bit quiet for this Reason Gaming squad so far. And again, quiet start for them so far in this game. They're still yet to get a kill on the board. That should be changing in this round with these AKs at their disposal. And it looks like the outside smokes are about to be lined up.
Oh, there they go. Yeah,
well, one outside smoke. There we go.
That's the second one coming a little bit later. Yuho had pushed all the way up. He does get checked by Fry, who immediately is traded back by Swaggy. Now the ramp push is coming through. Luzza's just leaving the position. He does leave Connor in the back lines, but he's so low. 1 bullet would be enough. But if he catches Pulse, he'll just get a kill early on here with the MP9. They haven't checked him. There's the kill on towards Pulse, and Astro finally gets the kill back in. But it's a 1v4 overall for the in-game leader. He'll run towards the lower bomb site. The just punched in, and now Astro has to find himself a couple of kills quickly, but it's Swaggy immediately taking the fight and winning it here for the Pensioners. 3-0.
Yeah, nice work from Pensioners there, especially on the yard position earlier in the round, because Reason were trying to fake the outside smokes. They were trying to fake the fact that the entire team were going to go down secret, but the CTs had 2 players there, so as soon as they stopped, Pensioners stop Reason from getting down secret. They know that it's not going to be that outside play. They can be much more prepared on the other positions. They can remain on top of those trades. And an early pause coming through here. Reason have been read pretty hard in these early rounds. They can afford to buy some pistols in this one, but it's not the start that Reason would have been wanting, considering this is a game that they want to win to make sure they keep their top spot.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on all of the teams today. We'll see which ones crumble under it and which ones will prevail. Endpoint certainly showed up today when the pressure was on them. A little more pressure on Endpoint than Reason. They've got a nice kind of pressure. It's like, will we remain the top team or like the second team? You know, it's not such a bad luxury to have. Well, Reason Gaming, they have got themselves quite a few pistols in play in this round. A little bit of Kevlar, but it should be a 4th round in play for the Pensioners. Fry just speeding up straight through the vent in towards the lower bomb site already. That causes a rotation from corners. He has to look down in towards B. The rest of the push coming in towards outside.
Yeah, even though he didn't have the bomb in his hands there, Fry, as he dropped down the vents, Pensioners were aware that he may have had the bomb, so they rotated to cut that off. Now the rest of the squad will join up. Connor is on the B site, though. They've got to trade him out, and they do so. 1-for-1 trade and access to the B site as Jenko gets a 2nd kill.
Well, Jenko... Yuho moving forward with 2 kills. He'll go back in for more. There's a 3rd for him. Fry in the back line manages 1. He'll spray away, but JKM will win the 1v1 duel. It'll be around on the board for the Pensioners, but nearly stolen away from Reason Gaming. That is so damn close. Jenko and Fry landing 2 between them. And unfortunately, the final battle just is won by the skin of his teeth here for JKM.
Positive signs for Reason, at least. Getting down secret, getting down onto the B site with just the pistols, upping the pace in that round as well as a team, which may be something that they could go for in these gun rounds. Although they've got the AWP now, so they don't need to go for the fast plays. Astro's got the AWP on the T side. He can go for a pick. Same on the CT side, though. Luz has got the AWP in his hands for the first time. Definitely 2 capable AWPers on both teams. So we might see that fight come into play as Luz is getting aggressive again over at Yard. Pensioners are trying to take away that area of the map from their opponents.
Well, they go towards outside. It's going to be a Reason with their smokes at the ready. Luz up, pushed up on red with the AWP in his hands. He'll be scoped in. This can be a very difficult angle to fall back on, so he's really relying on his teammate to be able to help him out. With the smokes coming in, that's going to segregate him. At least he should be good for 1, and there it is, nearly the lineup for 2. He does land both shots, goes back to finish off his prey. He initially maimed, and that's going to be Fry hitting the deck. Connor now tested in towards the ramp room. He'll be overrun by Pulse, and we're into a 3v4.
Yeah, just the 1 kill needed to get down towards this B site. Molotov in play, but Yuho stands behind it. Quick trade from Stanley. Might give them access to the B site, but the rotate's already here. Astro, okay, Stanley just about gets away with that kill. It's turned into a 2 versus 2. Fake plant again. It's all action all over the map right now, but it's Astro who has to clutch, and he won't be able to do so. Swaggy stands tall on the B site as Pensioners gain a 5-0 lead. And again, that outside presence is something the Reason haven't been able to deal with so far.
The Pensioners are off to a flying start here on the CT side of Nuke. You know, we look at this team and wonder, maybe a couple of their rotations where we set up won't be in place, but they have certainly silenced us, Alex. And silence Reason Gaming yet to post around, but maybe this can be the turning point for them.
I think the thing is, those CT rotations aren't as relevant when they're playing so aggressively, because they're the ones kind of in control of the information. They're almost the ones getting the early information to allow the rotates in the first place. So I love how Pensioners have started this one off.
Yeah, it's a really impressive stance. It's going to be Pulse taking 1 up towards Swaggy. A follow-up kill from Stanley as well as they'll move in towards the A-bomb site. This is a change in pace and Reason Gaming winning the battle at the moment. Luz are forced away from heaven, and the Pensioners have to consider a retake. Something they haven't really had to do too much of.
Switch up from Reason in their aggression, this time into the A site. Connor winning that fight, though, could give Pensioners a way into this round on the retake, but the smoke is going to make life difficult for them. Connor's coming in on the backstab, but I think they're backing away. Half the time gone on the bomb. Pensioners have decided that this retake isn't going to be too possible, and some of the Pensioners don't have too much money right now, so they've got to try and hold on to these guns, which is looking good for them so far. Yuho gets another kill on the exit, so it's only Jenko left for Reason. He should be able to hold on to his AK, especially with that kill. But Reason finally on the board.
Finally, a round that they desperately needed. They claw their way into. Is it consistent, though? That is the question. That's always the question you have to ask when you see these one-sided leads begin to be established, and then suddenly a team answers back with 1. You've got to see them try and continue this moving forward. It can't just be a one and done. We'll see what Reason have up their sleeve. It's going to be 4 AKs, 1 MAC-10 yet again. The same recipe that garnered their first round in the previous. Stanley quick and hot on the heels. There goes Yuho, straight out of the sight. Stanley moving in. And while damage has been done to the only sole player here, and it's JKM that somehow deals with it first. He will eventually drop, but his teammates have done so much. The bomb's on the floor, Alex. And while JKM, really the hero there in that round, wasn't expecting him to get anything.
Yeah, just buys time for Swaggy's backstab, and Connor just about reacts to the player that pops onto his screen once the smoke fades. It's Jenko who's going to be able to bypass these players. He's got the rotate down to the B site. He's got the free bomb plant. And Jenko's been in fine form for Reason so far. So don't count him out of this 1v3.
Jenko. This would be 7 kills on the scoreboard, but Luzza, oh, he's going to lose his head. Now a real chance here for Jenko, a second kill. That's 3, but the defuse is coming through. And Connor, he will pull it off just behind the pillar. Gets the kill at the end as well. 6-1 for the Pensioners. The kills may come in for Jenko, but Connor just hides and defuses. And the round is stolen away.
Even just getting the bomb plant there, though, and getting some kills near the end of the round is actually pretty massive from Jenko, because it keeps Reason buying. It keeps them putting on the pressure, and Pensioners have had to expend all their money into this round. They've got no more buffer, no more bank built up. So if Reason can win this round, then that previous round becomes all worth it. And Stanley, hello.
God. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, hero in the previous, idiot in the next. The life story of Connor McCall. Now, while Swaggy in towards main, just holding on, Jenko has crossed by, using the smokes to evade vision. Fry's got himself in towards the vent again. Oh no, Swaggy's patience might just pay off here.
Feels like we're about to see fights in all sorts of positions across the map. The door's about to be opened. Swaggy does take that fight over outside, so he gets the kill and the advantage for his team. Fry, though, going up through the vents, nearly gets dealt with, but Astro covers his teammate off, and they're getting onto this A-bomb site.
Well, Fry had a little journey towards the bottom of the vent, but dies on the top with Luzza from heaven striking down with the AWP, and now Yuho comes up the vent instead. Oh my god, nearly with the alligator, chomping away. But Yuho hits the deck, and now Luzza having to back away, having to try and save this AWP into the next one. Reason Gaming, it is not a pretty round, but it is a win.
Looks like Reason might have found the weak point of the Pensioners' defense on that A site. They've been able to get onto A a couple of times now. And this time it's going to lead to another round win for them. Those are just looking to hold on, but he could be in trouble now. They're closing the distance. The nade lands right onto his noggin. He's down to 40 health, and the headshot from Pulse secures it. AWP can be saved by Reason if they want it. They're just going to stick with the AKs, though. I think Reason have realized they forced their opponents down to a weak money situation, so they'd rather not have the AWP in some maybe close-range fights they're going to have to take here against the Pistols of Pensioners, who haven't got their money anymore. It's having to be a pretty weakened buy now for the CTs.
Starting to really wish they had a better pension. Well, utility is starting to come through. The Molotov's clear, but the smoke lands on top. That's a quick way of deploying the smokes down as you can cross as quickly as possible. And Fry again is the man who's been tasked with the suicide mission in towards the lower bomb site. Luzza ready to walk into him, but Fry might just be at the ready for a headshot.
Oh, there we go. Pre-aim around the corner. Quick headshot from Fry. And there has to be a response from Pensioners because Fry's down the vents with quick access to the B site if he wants it. Door opened up. Jacob popping a flash into Hut, but there are no T's there. Oh, there is one man there. He finds Pulse in the back lines. AK recovered for Jacob, but that's at the cost of losing control of the A-bomb site.
Well, bomb planted. Fry just holding outside of the door. Astro are on the back of the boxes if needed, but it's Stanley who takes away Swaggy. Connor, JKM, and Yuho looking for a way back into this. Good tag from the scout. That nade should be a kill, and Connor manages it. It's all about damage at this point. Not really expected to win the round, but as long as they take players down with them, they make it expensive for Reason and force a few rebuys. Now 3 in total having to be repurchased into the next round here for the T side, and their economy isn't really that well built up because of the back and forth that we've had. So Reason Gaming not too happy with the end result, but will be happy enough with the overall result.
Yeah, the problem for Pensioners is, even though they've done some damage there, unfortunately, their economy doesn't really put them in a position where they can buy into this one. So this is a round where it's much more likely Reason will get away without losing too many players, and maybe they will be able to build up a bit of a bank as this half goes on. Another pause here ahead of this next round.
One this time.
Okay.
Called in. But it is a technical pause indeed by the Pensioners. When it should be a relatively quick one, and we can get right back into the action very, very quickly indeed. Now, when we take a look at the Pensioners, they are looking pretty good. They're looking strong at the start of this, but I'm starting to see Reason chip their way back into things.
Yeah, and a lot of that early Pensioners' success came from the outside aggression, which I think Reason have kind of figured out now. Like you said earlier, they were putting that Molotov behind the red container, mainly just to get that smoke down quickly. Yep. But it does also give you the sound cue if there's a player behind the red container, which is the position that the Pensioners were making the most of. So I don't think we'll see Pensioners get away with that aggression again. And now it becomes a question of, can Pensioners continue to find success now that Reason have switched it up? And maybe they can, because Connor has landed a good scout headshot in the start of this one.
Well, not really expecting too much from this round, but every kill picked off, a damage done is impressive for the Pensioners. Reason Gaming just taking their time, clearing methodically towards outside. In these kind of rounds, you can never be too careful, right? You don't want to be caught off by any little nukes and crannies, positions where pistol stacks could be coming through. You don't want to give away anything for free. So Reason Gaming just being methodical in their approach, but they are committing to the lower bomb site where there are currently 3 players waiting for them. Connor misses a few shots, but that's not what Yuho will be doing with the Deagle, damaging and taking down Jenko. It's going to be a 3v4 with the advantage on the CT side now, but that's one of the rifles dropped.
Yeah, and Astro just runs into the A site. Even though he's only got the AWP, it could have been dangerous if there were another player on A. He's confident that A is clear, and his read on this round is right. He can get his team onto the A bomb site. Astro almost gets the chance to pull the trigger. He looks away at just the wrong time. Still, though, in a 3v3, this should be okay.
Yuho. He's being watched. I don't think there's any way he gets this kill. It's just so difficult. 2 players looking up at you. That was a chance for Swaggy, but Connor, now the last remaining player, started things off with a kill, but not expected to end with one. He had a couple of opportunities, just couldn't quite land them under the pressure. And while Reason Gaming will get a 4th round on the board, only losing 2 players there, their money will be flush. Now we take a look at the Pensioners buy. It's going to be the AWP in the hands of Lazar straight away. It's a glass cannon though, to make note that he doesn't have armor to play with. It does weaken it a little bit. He was also pretty weak overall at the minute. 4 and 6, not really the start he would be looking for. So maybe with this glass cannon, that's the way to get him in.
Now, we'll see where he decides to play with his AWP. Right now, he is just covering Yard pretty passively, I should say, while Swaggy has got the more aggressive position. Where's the smoke, though? Luz's got a clear line of sight here. The flashbang being thrown does mean that Luz has not got the initial angle, but he goes back, and Astro is able to win the fight. Man advantage early for Reason Gaming.
Jenko walking up. It's going to be an easy kill on towards Swaggy as they start to wrap in towards Heaven. Now Connor playing in below towards Hell. Could be a bit of a linchpin for the CT side here. Yuho is mollied away, completely bombarded with flames. Away from his position for Connor. No, there's so much to check here. JKM falling. Yuho looking for the Stanley. He wants the 2nd kill, but it's Jenko. So clean and clinical. Leaves Connor on his own in the round, and he's finally spotted. You know, his last whereabouts of Fry is quickly running towards him to try and take the kill, but unfortunately for him, the flash comes in towards his face, and Connor now has to back away. Saving this M4 into the next round wouldn't be the worst of scenarios, but winning the round is certainly impossible. So Connor will try and gather what he can and move into the next alive. He's currently 12 and 5, Alex. We always talk about Connor being an underrated player in this Pensioners roster, and yet again having a good performance.
Yeah, pretty solid game from him, but he's been having to save in quite a few of these rounds now, sadly. I think he's been playing ramp room in most of these rounds, and that can be a difficult position to rotate away from. You saw him in this one just try and see if he can spot the players in Heaven. He was pushing through Hell to try and find an angle, but Reason had already started wrapping the A site. so he didn't get there in time, wasn't able to have impact. And I think the real problem in that round for Pensioners was that as soon as Luzza goes down, as soon as he loses that Battle of the Orpers, Swaggy is just so isolated at Yard. He's trapped in that garage position with players all around him. He ends up getting blindsided by the players wrapping around into Heaven. And once Reason get a 2-man lead in that round, it's probably all over at that point. And that's what ends up happening. They close it out, and now Pensioners only have the one saved rifle alongside some pistols.
Pulse taking down Jake M. A man advantage here on the T side. Reason Gaming looking to try and hold on to it and even extend upon it. And we have started to see the weakness we highlighted earlier on was the Pensioners without Shaney today, without the likes of Riggin, they're going to be missing a lot of firepower, and I certainly feel like that is the case because we've already seen they're just losing a lot of the battles, even when they have the rifles in play. Aren't effectively trading 1-for-1. It's very much losing a player, and Reason will take 2. So I feel like when the rounds have got a little bit more difficult, Pensioners have started to struggle. Yuho left in an unwinnable position here with an AK. No kit to play with, no utility either, Alex. I think it's save time yet again. Save simulator for the Pensioners.
Ooh, maybe not going for the full-on save, having a little investigation, but Jenko, I should say, will take him away. I think your point earlier is definitely applicable here because Yuho has been having a pretty good game actually at 17 kills, and yet still it's not been enough firepower for this Pensioners squad, which is concerning to say the least. I think Luzza, like you said, has been having a quiet game by his standards. Swaggy has been pretty mediocre so far, unfortunately, not been in the best positions to get kills perhaps, so it's just not been enough for Pensioners so far after such a strong start. Reason have now cottoned on to that early aggression that was costing them, and they've completely turned this game around.
Yeah, good reply from the Reason side, starting to get very comfortable now on this T side. Going to be taking the lead in this round unless there's going to be a big hold from the Pensioners. Swaggy finds an important kill. He's dropped to 47 HP, and Yuho getting aggressive, forced forward by the Flames, needs the shot. Oh, that is just unfortunate. There was no way he could fall back. He had to go and take the fight. He tries to make the most of it, but again, Swaggy and Luzza having to save over into the next one. Luzza was just not involved at all in that round. So 7-6, Reason Gaming into the lead. And they are feeling very comfortable right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're having some issues on the Pensioners side holding this A site. This time it was Jacob who was really pretty much alone on the A site itself. And he's generally been the A site anchor, but whenever those nades have come over the top, Jacob's struggled to deal with them. Sometimes it's been the full executes onto A with Molotovs as well, but this round it was just a single flash that fully blinded him. And it was a great flash from Reason to get them onto the bomb site, but you've got to think on the Pensioners side that they need another player in a position that's not going to get blinded so that Jacob can be covered there because he's just a sitting duck in that position. And now Pensioners will decide to force around what they saved. A couple of weaker guns in the mix. Connor's got the auto shotty in his hands, which is very viable on this map in some spots. Normally you see it on top of the hut, but this time he's taking it into ramp room where it's just as viable. And then Jacob's got the FAMAS as well. So we'll see if Pensioners can make the most of a couple of weaker guns in this round, as they might be going for this outside aggression again.
Oh, Yuho springing through the smoke. Fry hits the deck. Jenko able to trip back, and now we've got ourselves an advantage here for Reason yet again on this T side. You know, when you have a 4v4, it may not be technically a man advantage, but it certainly does favor the T side. Forces the CTs to have a weakness somewhere on their defense, and well, this is the perfect reply. It's to get aggressive, to get back into the action, take a little bit of map control back, and sort of suffocate the Reason side. But look at this position from Swaggy, in behind towards the secret stairs. This push of JKM, oh, needed to work for him. It's not really required there, Alex. I don't feel like he needed to do that. He's actually just given them the bomb site.
Yeah, I wonder if Jacob was a bit worried because he accidentally made a noise as he was jumping on top of Hut. So maybe he was worried he'd given away his position and just decided to try and get the drop on his opponents. But it ends up going the opposite way, and now this retake is very difficult.
Yeah, it's I'd say verging on the realms of impossibility at the moment. Jenko, He's going to take away Swaggy. Luzza still remains on 4 kills. I literally don't know what Luzza's doing right now. I feel like he's just in spawn all the time.
Yeah, he's been playing around Heaven, I think, and around those sorts of positions, because in that round he flashed his teammate in on that yard aggression.
Oh,
he might not save the ult this time, though. The nades, the players all coming in. There was even a flashbang from Stanley, which ended up getting a flash assist, and Luzza's ult is finally taken out of his hands. He's still got money to buy another one, though.
Yeah. He's been saving enough. At least they give him a Viking funeral at the end there.
Yeah,
Not burning
nice.
him. But
yeah, Luzza could maybe just play like down secret or something.
I think you just need to change him up. Like, he's such a talented player. You just need to get him involved across the map. He's just in such a stale position. I want to get him involved in the action. I want to get his confidence up, start taking fights. That might just be the case here, though, because the AWP is definitely the pivotal weapon in play.
Wow, Fry just running across yard. Swaggy can hear this, surely.
Well, Luzza didn't do much. Swaggy and gets one on the finesse. Fry able to take him away in reply. We've got ourselves a man advantage in play for Reason, and Astro is going to follow up by taking away Yuho. Now 2 players on the pensioner side versus the 2 advantaged here for Reason. Ooh, easy kill for Pulse. Very, very easy stuff here for the T side. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. Just a standard default. Sees a little bit of control early on and just hold for a couple of mistakes. And there it is. 9-6 at the half. Reason Gaming, an excellent recovery after what was a pretty shaky start.
Yeah, I think we saw some of the concerns we had for Reason come to light there as that half went on. Partly the rotations, but partly just the inability to, I think, have proper sight holds between players, especially on the A site. I think you really need to have a good level of understanding with your teammate, a good level of practice down, so that you have maybe one player playing anti-flash or one player in a position where he's not going to get blinded. Otherwise, you're just going to lose to those A executes in quite a few rounds. And so after the aggression stopped working for Pensioners, they basically stopped winning rounds, sadly. Remember, Pensioners came out with 5 rounds very early in the half, and then they basically got nothing for the rest of the half. So Reason really taking over as that half went on.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of lack of firepower present for the Pensioners. We'll see if they can change that. It's going to be more difficult, I'd say, on the T side, though, to sort of rally the troops and get the battle mentality going, because the T side of Nuke becomes a little bit more difficult now with the Krieg nerf. You can't really take those fights towards outside if you lose control of the economy early on. You don't have the AWPs in play. This could be very difficult here for the Pensioners. Reason Gaming would love to get off to the pistol start, would love to get that momentum going. And the Pensioners, unfortunately, were fighting this entire season to get 1 win under their belt. It's kind of strange that it comes against Endpoint.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of the reasons Pensioners did go for this Nuke pick, for what it's worth, could be that that game that Reason had against CEX on Nuke, where they saw CEX get the win. But I don't think Pensioners as a team are going to be able to kind of recreate what CEX were doing there. Because firstly, CEX had to win a ton of really, really important rounds. And then secondly, CEX have been more established as a team. They've got more practice down as a team. They've got more team play. So unfortunately for Pensioners, it's not been happening for them so far. And the other time Reason played Nuke this season was against Nerd Rage, and they took a 16-5 victory. So maybe that's more like what we're going to see in this one if it keeps on going like this. We got the Julies, Dinko.
We do indeed have the Julies. Now, I'm a big fan of this. If Astro decides to play them near the hut area or in towards main, we'll see if that is the case. Certainly a fun pistol to take a look at. I think Astro is one of the players that loves to pick these up a little bit more. We do see him wield it every now and then, and that's exactly where he will be heading.
Pensioners won't be heading in his direction, though. Well, one player will, but the majority of the squad are pushing down Secret right now, and they haven't taken too much damage in the process. In fact, it's Pulse who got dinked down to 5 health as the Pensioners make their march onto the B site.
But there's 2 players waiting for them. It's Stanley and Janko looking to try and end them before they get anywhere near the site. It's the first kill from Stanley. Probably could have done and should have done more, but at least he stopped the bomb. Push is halted. Luzza finding a kill, a headshot on towards Fry, but Luzza is not long for the world. Picked off by Janko, who so patiently waits in the back of the bomb site. Now Jake looks to try and recover with his teammate, but there's the Julies and the USP making it work. It now leaves Yuho, a player that stood tall for them in the first half, to try and make it happen, to try and extend his kill count further. And well, Pulse is 5 HP, so this is definitely winnable, but Astro takes him away with the Jewel Berettas. Julie domination.
It comes through. 2 pistols are better than 1 in this case. Reason get the pistol round win on the CT side. I don't mind the call there from the pensioners, but it was a fairly obvious one. Once they saw 4 players going down secret, Reason had those 2 players rotated, as you pointed out, and that shows how ready they were for that. And they managed to slow pensioners down pretty significantly there, staying alive on the site, giving time for the rotates, making sure that they had it locked down. So in this next round, Astro will hold long range with the AUG. Not a weapon we've seen too much of, but it did get that little buff recently in terms of when you're unscoped with it. And at these angles, it can be pretty great.
Oh, a nice kill from Fry. Swaggy gone. Stanley getting another one as well. It does leave JKM and Luzza into a 2v5. As the pistol starts to move forward, Pulse will sit back with a FAMASA on the corner. He'll rattle away. It's going to be Astro who takes the kill, and now Luzza all on his lonesome. He has got a deagle and a real chance to find a few at least, but Pulse takes his head off. 11-6 on the board. Reason Gaming steamrolling their way to a more concise victory than the pensioners would have been hoping for.
Here comes the buy round for the pensioners, but the nades are very much lacking. They've got 3 smokes, so the yard smokes would be possible for the pensioners if they know the lineups, which is always a question mark for some teams. Hopefully they do know them if they're going to go for it. But on the Reason side, they are sticking with a fair few of their weakened weapons. They've got 3 MP9s in play, and because of that, they're getting aggressive. Pulse taking the fight to his opponents early on into the round, but it is turned into a 4v4. Oh my god, Fry. Jeez. Just ran through the smoke.
Fry. That is unreal. Find himself a kill. And now it's going to be a 3v3. Pulse sits back in the old vent. JKM up on top of the silo. He'll look down in towards the courtyards over his surfs. But no one spotted. So he has no surfs. Do you surf, Alex?
I do not surf. I've never surfed in my life.
Me neither.
Do I look like the kind of guy that would surf?
Bodyboarded.
Okay. That's more than me.
And if you don't like one of those, you know, those, what do you call those bucking robots? I don't know, the sort of bull thing you sit
mechanical bull thing, yeah.
I've done that, but it's a surfboard. And I sucked at it really bad.
Yeah, that sounds hard.
Yeah, really bad. Anyway, Pulse should be on for a nice little flurry of kills here. His teammate takes the initial attention, but they're going to drop to the vent. There's one. Should realize that now the pensioners are sprinting with the Zimmer frames towards the lower bomb side. Now Astro, he'll throw the Molotov towards the back of the site, forces him out to the left side, and while this AUG, should have got a kill, but Swaggy wins the battle. And I've got a 2v2. Yes, the players and pensioners are low, but they've got good positions. Had good positions, and now it's Yuho left in a 1v2.
Yeah, got to get aggressive here, and he doesn't get the headshot. Jenko remains on top of the situation, wins the fight, and wins Reason the round. And Reason there, after saving some guns over, after carrying over some weaker weapons from the previous round, it's nice that they got aggressive at the start of that round with some of those guns, because it allowed them to quickly upgrade to one of those AKs. They turned it into a 3v3. They made life difficult for pensioners, which was nice to see, and it worked out nicely for them. They win on the 3v3. They win the retake on B, but with the bomb plant, pensioners can continue to buy. It's just with almost no nades. They've got 3 smokes and a single flashbang, and they're going to put all their smokes over on yard. Maybe not. They've only put 1 smoke for now. But I'd expect to see the follow-up smokes.
Astro.
Not yet, though.
Oh, I love this position. This is one of my favorite spots to play. Just in behind the generator. Take 1, fall back. You've got solid cover. Very difficult to predict because when the players turn around the corner, they're always looking at heaven instead of your spot. So you have that advantage. A few seconds for them, or milliseconds for them, to try and train their crosshair back to where you are. So it's good to have a little bit of an advantage here, Astro. Let's see what they do. They peek in towards him. There was nearly a collateral opportunity, but Astro, unfortunately, not landing anything. He'll relocate his crosshair back in towards Hell. He might just get another chance here, but it's glass. Oh, there we go. Luzza. Things are going from bad to worse here for Luzza, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure Astro tried to kill his teammate. Luzza just got caught in the crossfire.
Unfortunate for pensioners, but it's just not happening for them. I love that Astro plays safe after that kill as well. You've got such a big advantage, and it is a complete collapse from pensioners. They lose that round without a single frag. And honestly, that might be them down and out of this game now. 13-6 behind. The money is bad. There are very few positives if you are a Pensioners fan right now.
Yeah, Yuho's playing good. 20 and 17. At least that's something much better than the rest of his team. Connor, we pointed him out for playing okay, but he's, you know, when I pointed that out, it was nearly at the start of the game when he had 12 kills. Now he's got 13. So no one really showing up other than Yuho. It's just completely lacking firepower here for the Pensioners. Swanky gets one on the Deagle. Fry gone. Man advantage here on the T side. At least the Pensioners have that to play with, but will it be enough? Swaggy taking significant damage.
Stanley's had a pretty solid game so far. He will reposition over at Ramp Room. Might want to play a slightly safer spot here. And wow, Yuho's got down the vents. That's something that Reason have got to deal with. Stanley close by, playing behind this smoke, and he should get a freebie. Looking for more as he hears Jacob is running around close by. But that smoke's going to fade soon, so Stanley's got to be careful here. Second frag found. Assistance comes in from Pulse. And Luzza has got to see if he can find this man. And look at Stanley wrapping around. No clue on the Luzza side of things. He goes down, and Stanley absolutely dominates the Ramp Room.
Stanley owns the Ramp Room, and well, it's going to be 14-6. You know what? I was just going to say, Stanley has stamped his authority on the Ramp Room, right? Because
nice.
then I reminded of myself of that book. Was Flat Stanley or something? You put him in an envelope. It was like
I don't know what you're talking about,
book.
to be honest. Is this some Flat Earth book that you've read?
No. It's like a... What is it? It's a really like famous children's book.
I think I have vaguely heard of this.
Yeah.
I just haven't thought about it in like 10 years.
Yeah, you have to read it in primary school and stuff. Yeah.
Connor's
Well, there you
bought
go.
an SG, Dinko. And it's worked.
Go on, Connor. Keeping the dream alive. He's the pioneer for the Weaker Krieg Foundation. I need to call you Mitch. Alex.
I never want to be compared to Mitch. Never.
Why not? Why would you possibly not want to compare to him?
I wonder.
He's got a few issues going on, but you know.
Stanley
Nothing
heard
too
that
serious.
reload. Oh, mate. He's got the backstab.
Has he? Oh, there we go. Stanley will get it. Not for a second. JK might have escaped. 3v3. Back into even odds. Yuho with a headshot. Pulse immediately trading back, so that's good for the Reason side. Unfortunate, though, for the Pensioners. You have to rely on Luzza to try and make a play. He's done damage, but Yuho's dropped in the sight, and Pulse gets rid of him. It's now all onto Luzza. Is he lying? Yeah, pretty badly as well. Ah, God, it's not Luzza's day, but he still finds a kill on the Glock, and now Pulse is 12 HP. Luzza could win this.
Oh, where's he going? He decides to go down ramp. This is the right call. Pulse, though, I think is rotating down the vents pretty soon, or at least he's close to the vents, so he can hear this bomb plant. He probably is going to make noise as he rotates down here, though, or he might slowly go down the ladder. So there we go. The lack of information from Luzza is going to keep him guessing in this clutch.
Luzza just hiding, just biding his time, lying like a madman. Well, we'll see if that plays into his favor. Up to the right, he looks the low HP, and there it is. Luzza, if there's ever a time to shine, it was there. You know, you've got the lie caveat, you've got everything against you, and you still win it. Impressive.
Instant technical pause called as well.
Yes, I wonder what that could possibly be.
Even though he won that round, he might want to have a look at that. But good work from Luzza there. Coming away with the round win. Somehow gets it done. At this point, just win rounds by any means necessary really is the aim of this for Pensioners, because they are so far behind on their T side. The money for Reason is very lopsided, but it is pretty good across the board. They'll be able to get a good buy together. Astro can have the AWP if he wants it. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets it into his hands. Pensioners are going to have a lot more work to do throughout this game. Connor also doesn't have a helmet, which is always a bit of a shame on the T side. Susceptible to those M4 one-shot headshots. Could see a bit more impact from Luzza, though. Like we were saying, he was a bit quiet on the first half. More just because he wasn't able to get involved in the action enough. But this time he was put in a winnable position, and he makes the most of it. And there is that ult for Astro.
If Pensioners lose this round, then it's over, I'd say. So this is probably the most important round for the Pensioners so far. They have to really show us what they're made of coming into this. They have to try and get it going. They have to turn it into consistent success. They seem to have fixed all their issues with Luzza lagging. And we'll get right back into the action. It's going to be an ult in the hands of Astra. Rifles in play for the rest. AKs galore on the T side.
Might be a quick play. Yuho having a look at main. Maybe if he got the pick, they would have pulled the trigger, but without the frag, they're just going to hold it back. Swaggy's got to be careful here. There are two players on the other side of this smoke. And once those smokes start fading, we might see some fights. Pulse is backed away, and Stanley's only on 27 health there in the corner, but some noise made by Swaggy. He's got to be careful here.
Well, Swaggy sitting back in behind the red box. And just bide his time. The Pensioners want to get involved. They want to try and get these opening kills to give them a slight advantage to play with. They need this. Everything rides on this round. Stanley in the corner, ready to strike. It's Fry and Stanley almost in tandem, finding the two opening kills. The Pensioners have been laid flat, and this is not going well so far. 50 seconds. Fry, hungry for another kill. He'll be looking down in towards the door and goes for the spam to Luzza. Notice he's trapped in the corner, and there it is. The spam pays off. Jenko stops Connor from walking anywhere near the A-bomb site. It leaves JKM in an unwinnable 1v5. Don't do it to him. Not like this. Oh, he's done it to him. Oh. Shanked him up, left him dead. 15-7 for the Reason Gaming side.
Second knife of the game for Stanley, who's looking so much more comfortable here today than what we've seen from him in the rest of the season so far. Yes. Looks like he's found his footing on this team in this game, which is great because he's always been a player that we know has the potential. There was a time period where he was over in NA. He was trying to make it work over there, but he's come back to the UK, and this is more of what we want to see from him.
Fan of him as a player. Pulse and Fry finding plenty of kills. It does leave us in a pretty unwinnable position here for the Pensioners. Looking like a 16-7. Fry does get caught off by Luzza. I believe one player has already dropped on the T side, so they're showing the mentality right now for the Pensioners is not so great. And there it is. The cleanup is in. It's going to be a 16-7 win. The Pensioners will unfortunately get dominated this week. Last week they got their first win, but back to normality, I think, for the Pensioners.
Yeah, and we were saying how this could be a game that's closer than you were expecting because of that good form from Pensioners last week. When you look at just the rankings of the teams, you might expect it to be one-sided, but to be honest, that's kind of just what ended up happening. And it's nice to see Reason as well back to their level because this is normally what we expect from them when against some of these weaker opponents.
Yeah, we did see some incredible plays across the board from so many of these players, and we see a big step up early on from Yuho. Connor was playing well, but then it really was only Yuho left because Connor kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Luzza stepped up in the second half, but had a very, very unimpactful first half. So the Pensioners just really lacked firepower overall. We did see an incredible performance, I think, just as a team from Reason, which I'm happy to see. I think this team have a lot of potential moving forward, and are certainly one of the favorites for this, especially with a weak-looking endpoint.
Yeah, and considering that was a 5-0 start in that game for Pensioners, that was about as one-sided of a result as they could get on the Reason side there, to be able to come back and just dominate every single round. You saw at the end there even, they were just so confident. I think by that point, they knew they had the game in the bag. So all looking good across the board for Reason Gaming. And again, a couple of things there for Pensioners that look positive, but I think we've got to go back to the map choice. That's the biggest surprise for me here. Nuke never felt like a map that was going to be too great for this Pensioners squad, and that really came into reality there. Yeah, we've seen Nuke really be a strugglesome affair for them, unfortunately, but we do have our top players, right? The players to take a look at, we've had quite a few of them, we've mentioned a few already. I think Yuho certainly deserves to be said and put up among the rest, but the options below are Stanley, Jenko, and Yuho. They may have not got the win, but Yuho certainly performed and at least got a few of the rounds on the board for his team, but Stanley and Jenko, again, just consistently strong. Yeah, Jenko throughout this season, I feel like, is in that player of the series discussion almost every time. Yeah, he's so definitely solid for this team. And then, like we were saying, Stanley, I think today had a big overperformance. And I'm sure those knife kills will get him some love over on social media. Yeah, I'm sure they will. But it is time for a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to go to a short one. But when we return, we'll have our final map of the day ready for you. It's going to be the match to watch. CEX taking on Nerd Rage. So make sure you stay with us.
devil. That's why you don't f with the big dog. Now listen here, you
Tired of spanking your mates week in, week out? Come on, this sad little loser online from Albuquerque, New Mexico, without any rewards other than glory? Try Stakester now. Start using your legendary skills and making some real motherfucking money. Go on. Press it.
Parsec lets you play your entire library of games on any device, anywhere, with anyone, at any time. It's easy. Install Parsec and boom, your PC game library is at your fingertips. Are you bored playing solo? Share a link with anyone and go multiplayer. No friends online? Jump into Parsec's arcade and play with people from all around the world. Parsec's available for most things with screens. Download now.
Hello everyone and welcome to the ESL Premiership powered by Intel. My name is Dinko, we're going to be joined by Hawker, and we've got ourselves an excellent matchup going in. And I just caught myself on the delay looking the wrong way, Alex, so that's kind of funny to look at. But yeah, we've had some great matchups already here today, and obviously we just watched the Pensioners get a little bit of a slap around, didn't we? So that wasn't exactly the most pleasant to see, but at least there were some signs of life from Yuho, and that's really about it. So we move on to our next matchup. It's going to be CEX versus Nerdridge. This one should be the game to watch. The one of the day, the closest affair. Two very young, exciting teams battling it out here at the ESL Premiership.
Exactly, we got our hot match, so hopefully it shows up and gives us a bit of a closer affair than our first games of the day did. And this one should be, because Nerdrage and CX have been two of the surprise packages so far this season, and the winner of this is going to be joint top with Reason, which is huge for both these squads.
Yeah, definitely huge. And when we'll take a look at CEX first and really get to know those players, we've got the likes of MT, Impact, Murky, which is a very exciting player to look at, Nuke Dog, and Cypher. Now, we look at this team, it's packed full of potential and young players that can definitely do a lot of damage. But for me, I most enjoy watching Murky play. I think he's very exciting, very interesting player to look at, and he can continue to be the thorn in the side of many a team.
Yeah, Murky's been the real standout in a bunch of rounds, but the thing that was so nice for CEX in their win over Reason was that we had rounds where all the players showed up. Even guys like Cypher, who were a bit quieter at some points in that game, they had their clutches, they had their moments. So they are a team that's pretty skilled across the board, which is always good to have that depth in your roster.
Yeah, well, Nerdridge, their opponents did previously play as Chets coming into this, but obviously their results have clearly attracted an organization because they took down Endpoint 16-9. Then they went on to play just so solidly against the likes of IDOS. So this team definitely have a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can continue to do. I think this will be the true test for them. I think CX are in good form. Nerdridge definitely have a lot going for them, but it's the likes of Fraser, Brody, Ping, LNZ, and Tadpole that will grace your screens. A very, very young team as well. Tadpole, you said you watched him when he was like 13 or something, Alex, and not in the strange way.
Yeah, that sounds a bit dodgy, but yeah, I think I first heard about him when he was 13 playing at the UK lands. And then for this squad, I think Fraser's had a great resurgence since obviously he used to be on that Vex team. I think he's got a bit more freedom here. He's got a bit more of a playmaking ability, and he's been back to his best. He's been great for them. He's been a big part of why they've been able to get so many wins on the board.
Yeah, he's definitely been a very, very impactful player across the board. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that Frieza continues. I feel like maybe towards the end of X, he kind of felt a little bit trapped, maybe a little bit under pressure. And we know Frieza can be an emotional player, but we move into the maps, and we've got the likes of Train and Dust 2 banned already. Nerd Rage trying to get rid of the Puggy map, CEX banning the most technical map. So quite a juxtaposition here with the first 2 bans.
Yeah, I think CEX are definitely generally happy to play the tactical maps. It's just Train is one of the ones that they kind of lean away from. Then we get the Mirage ban from CEX, which I like against this Nerd Rage squad. I think Nerd Rage probably do have the edge in skill, so I think you can just take that one away.
When you take a look at Overpass, it's been a map that's common throughout for most teams, but definitely not here on the table for Nerd Rage. CX ban out Inferno, Nuke gone, and we get Vertigo again, Alex. 2 Vertigos in one night. That's not exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah, I wonder if CEX will be a bit surprised at this, because we haven't seen much of Nerd Rage on Vertigo so far, and they have played the Nuke previously. They did lose that Nuke 16-5 against Reason, but they haven't shown much of an ability to play Vertigo so far. So this might be a surprise kind of choice from Nerd Rage. Yeah. And CX, they did play it against Endpoint. They took it close, but it's this new version of the map which throws everything into question.
Yeah, it's a Vertigo that has seen quite a bit of change. And when we know what the changes are, we've seen it earlier on in our Endpoint game. We've seen how that match played through. That was a 16-5. Definitely not going to be expecting the same case here.
Yeah, definitely not. Very close on the fan vote, and understandably so. 2 of the more exciting up-and-coming teams in the UK right now. Some talent, some skill, and some team play should be on your server shortly once these 2 teams get into it. And I just want to see, again, who's most prepared for this Vertigo? Who's got the tricks up their sleeve? Who has really kind of gained the edge from this coming down to this map?
Yeah, we've seen early on there was a little bit of preparation from IDOS over towards that B-bomb site, but like you said, pretty much everywhere else it was a little bit flat. So I'm looking forward to seeing both of these teams have that same level of performance and even an increase on it, because we definitely want to see them play even better. But for the most part, the system still stands here on Vertigo as what you would use maybe even towards that A-bomb site, but it does change when it comes to mid control, because some teams were electing just to not play middle at all, but with the new changes, obviously it becomes a much more important and influential part of the map. So we get into the pistol axis, Nerd Rage on the T side, CEX starting on the CT side.
Yeah, CEX had the side choice, and they choose to start CT. We'll see how that works out for them as we get underway into this game. 2 sets of nades for Nerd Rage, so again, suggests they've got something up their sleeve in this pistol round, and it may just end up being this A execute, but look at the aggression from Nuke Dog. This is a lot of information early into the round for CEX.
Well, Nerd Rage have pretty much all of their forces stacked over towards the A-bomb site. Smoke going up in towards the top side already. Molotov running in behind. Cypher's going to be forced into the right side, and that's going to be a great headshot. Catching out LNZ, trying to run towards the back of the sandbags. Doesn't quite work for him. And now Nerd Rage having to play the post plan, because they know Frizz is coming in from behind. This late lurk patient play from Fraser might just be the linchpin of their success as he catches Murky. More players in front of him, but he whiffs the shots. But still, he's caused enough pressure for his teammates to be able to capitalize, to get into better positions, and now he can reaggress.
Oh, Tadpole also coming away with some kills as they move on to the bomb site. MT reloading. How is he alive? He gets away with the kill. MT with 2. And now it's up to Brody. 1 versus 2. The defuse happening, but Brody moving in. He denies it. And I don't think there's time. A complete chaotic round on the A-bomb site. But it is going to be Nerd Rage who win.
Well, Nuke Dog looks at a kit as he runs on by. An unfortunate time there for the CEX side, but that flank from Fraser, that really is the stone that unsettles the water. He comes through the backside, and they were not ready for him. Murky picked off, then the rest of them turn and try to drop him, but Fraser does a good job of staying alive, allowing his teammates to capitalize on the distraction.
Yeah, exactly. Even though he doesn't get that second kill, which he maybe will be a bit disappointed with, the decision to stay alive was so useful, because you saw CEX being scared of both angles. It just made it really difficult for CEX to start that retake when there's so many angles they have to be scared of. It's a very cheeky angle.
Ooh. Perfect start though for Nerd Rage. It's all about limiting the casualties and giving us a nice little Round with a breather, because that was a pretty chaotic pistol. Everything was happening all over the place. But this is a much more passive approach. We actually got to talk to LNZ last week, sort of hear his thoughts on the CEX roster. Definitely seeing a good future for the team, feeling that they can beat everyone.
Yeah, they said they were putting a fair amount of focus into their team play as well, which was good to hear, because there's a good amount of skill on this Nerd Rage squad. Ooh, Murky down the ladder. Might have a flank going here, but the A play is already coming in. CEX are going to struggle delaying this A site.
Well, and Zed catches Murky, fall away from behind. Brody. And a good kill. Cypher picked off. Now MT is the last remaining player. Just the Deagle in his hands, and Brody ends up with a round win. It's going to be Nerd Rage up 2-0. And feeling very happy about this start now. At this point, we'll be looking over at CEX to see what they present. It's going to be a FAMAS in the hands of Cypher and Murky. So immediately we're seeing a pretty weak buy coming from the CT side. Definitely wanting to get more utility in than rifles.
Yeah, a bunch of FAMASs, like you were saying. Only the one kit for them, though. I am interested to see how they hold mid here, because Cypher's still playing close, but if he's not careful, he's not got much of a position to fall back to right now. Smoke deployed by the T side. Cypher playing off the back of this. He goes aggressive, and he gets one kill, but now he could be in trouble. The spam through the smoke takes him down, and Nerd Rage win the early battle for mid.
Well, Fraser comes around the back side. It's going to be MT who falls. And a two-man advantage in play for Nerd Rage. This is the kind of start they'd be looking for. Methodical take on the T side, finding the advantages, winning the battles, keeping the casualties low. It is only Ping who falls. And now Nerd Rage gather outside of A. Utility coming in. Smoke up. Flash is at the ready as well to run on in towards the A bomb site. Absolutely no one here to defend apart from the player back in the elevator. But even at that, the site has already been taken. The bomb can be planted. And unfortunately, this round is done. So CEX having to save their weapons on over to the next one. Nerd Rage go 3-0 up. This is the start that you have to have coming into things if you're Nerd Rage. And you've got a close game in your hands, statistically speaking. On paper, this should be a close affair. But we've seen that Nerd Rage should have had a close game last week as well. But they got off to such a good start that the initial momentum was enough to get them the win. They built up enough of a lead.
Good kill from Nuke Dog as he tries to hold on to his gun. He's the only man with the M4. Yeah, I think CEX in this round, for example, they had a good idea of needing to hold on to mid control a bit more aggressively, but I think it's just very difficult to do now, especially with the sandbags position being taken away. If you get aggressive there, like they tried to do, you're just going to get spammed through that smoke if it comes into play more often than not. So I think that mid position is going to be one that's really difficult to deal with from the CT side. I'll be keeping track for sure on how teams are trying to get control of that position, because we might see some more utility used to try and get control of mid, but in that round, it doesn't work out for CEX. Once they lost those initial trades, they ended up losing the round. Impact needs to be careful here, playing close range with this FAMAS, trying to play a bit of an off angle, perhaps.
Well, pushing down towards the bottom of the stairs is LNZ, who gets rid of Impact, and a man advantage on the T side. Tadpole with a headshot, Nuke Dog gone, and well, the two-man advantage now for Nerd Rage. There's no real issues in sight. Brody making his way through the new connector room. I like these this new sort of texture as well. The builders are being busy, you know, carving out the bricks, I guess. Alex, I don't know.
Is that what builders do, Dinko? Carve out the bricks?
The bricklayers, maybe. That's something. You can tell I've never been interested in manual labor.
No.
Will never be interested in manual labor. So, any builders out there? I'll probably hit you up in the future when my shelf breaks or something, because I'm that useless.
Yeah, pretty much same. Oh, good kill from Brody on the edge of the smoke. Cypher's just going to have to save this AK. Nerd Rage off to a fantastic start here on Vertigo. I was saying earlier, I think this might be a bit of an unexpected choice from Nerd Rage. I think that CEX could actually not be too ready for this. And I was watching the warm-up earlier, and it looked like CEX were kind of teaching each other a couple of nades. So dim, Cypher. You got to get those.
Well, 4-0. CEX finally. This is definitely their best buy. Murky on the AWP finally, Alex. Could this be the key that unlocks the door for CEX into Vertigo?
They've got to be hoping so. Again, this default setup for the CT side has got 2 players positioned on B now, which is not what we used to see, but it's more difficult to hold on to, and you can already see Nuke Dog under pressure. A little bit lucky he gets away with his life there. A couple of nades deployed. Nuke Dog takes a bit of damage, but CEX have stopped the early aggression on B. However, they may still be in some trouble because here comes LNZ getting close to this B site.
Molotovs on the side, burning away. It's going to be Nerd Rage trying to gather their troops up here. Impact swinging into the open to try and take a fight. Nuke Dog from the back alliance, though, does well to pick up 2. Another bomb sits on the floor, and Nuke Dog on for his triple kill. Tadpole doing good work, but it's all onto Tadpole now. 8 HP, has to ace clutch into the 1v2. Now, this is going to be difficult, but he's got the good position. They're both coming in from CT, but his head has been taken off, and that is nice from Murky.
Yeah, AWP into Murky's hands is always a big part of CEX's game, part of their success. It closes out this round for them, but it was really Nuke Dog who was the difference maker there on the B bomb site. You need a really good B site anchor now on Vertigo. You need someone who's going to get multi-kills in that position, and Nuke Dog delivers in this round with the 3K. I think their Nerd Rage had just a bit of a difficulty pushing through the smoke was the main problem for them, because the Molotovs were pretty good. It forced one player out of position, but because the smoke was up, they didn't look too committed through that smoke there. They didn't look like they really got through the smoke quickly enough, so Nuke Dog was able to pick them apart. But here comes the shot from Murky. It actually lands onto Fraser. No kill, though, for the CT side, and Brody has been able to spam through that smoke and get the opening for the Nerd Rage squad. Double up setup, by the way, to see.
Yeah, Nuke Dog, who was so successful on the rifle in the previous, is with the AWP. Glass, not the glass cannon, but he hasn't got a kit, nor a whole heap of utility, nor a helmet, but the AWP and the armor should be enough.
That could be a bit scary on the B site, though, not having that many nades, having an AWP here. He could struggle to really lock this down. Right? Yeah, and that smoke is missed, which is a shame.
Especially since there's not so many places to fall back on this B-bomb site. He's just got to really rely on hitting this first shot. Moving into the right, using the cover. Needs more than one here, I think. And while Nuke Dog doesn't get a single kill, forced back by the Molotov. Now Impact's time to shine with the M4, and he'll only manage 1. This is just perfect from Nerd Rage, and I'm not a fan of that double-up setup. I think with Nuke Dog playing so well with the rifle in the previous... oh my god, Tadpole doesn't even know you can't plant there. That's just how recent the changes are. But... at this point, you've just had a huge performance on that B-bomb site with Nuke Dog on the rifle. He's got a multi-kill from the spot, clearly showing he's capable. Then you toss an AWP into his hands, or he decides to pick one up. And just unfortunate for him, really, because it's not exactly the position that's going to reap a whole lot of success from it.
Yeah, I think in general, we're probably not going to see too many double-up setups on this Vertigo now, especially on that B side of the map. Maybe you could have a second AWP playing mid and just try and get 1 kill and then back away and go from there. But even then, it's not easy to AWP on the B site. And I think the other problem was the position that Nuke Dog decided to play from is one that Nerd Rage have been mollying in almost every round. They've had that Molotov onto the site. So once he gets Molotoved out of position, it's very difficult to see him getting away with more than 1 kill there. And I was saying previously, I think it's really important to have someone on the B site that can get away with multiple kills, because then you can actually play for retake. But it doesn't happen there with the AWP. And it is a timeout taken now. 5-1 lead for Nerd Rage. This one's starting to look very good for the Nerd Rage squad. And it is a tactical timeout from CEX, which is not surprising.
Oh, they definitely need it. They haven't exactly been in this map just yet. If you are just tuning in, we did have an earlier performance on Vertigo. It was Endpoint taking down IDOS 16-5. Pretty one-sided performance. Could be more of the same here if Nerd Rage keep this up.
Nuke Dog's now got the silenced M4, so he's again playing the B site anchor, but that's a position you probably want the unsilenced M4 in for those multi-kills like we saw earlier. Oh, hello.
Yeah, Brody coming up. It's going to be MT with a double. Tampole and Brody taken away. It's going to be a man advantage in play for CEX. The hard-fought battle. Ping's been quiet, and oh no, he hasn't been spotted. At least that's something. He needs to win this. Oh, and unfortunately he won't. Impact wins the battle of middle. And well, this is not looking good for Nerdridge whatsoever. It's going to take a monumental performance out of LNZ and Fraser to work their way back into this. Well, Fraser caught off towards A, does leave only LNZ, the lone Swede. They know exactly where he is as well. He's nowhere near that bomb. And this round, it's done.
Yeah, damage would still be nice though. Spots the one player in heaven. There is another player on the bomb site he needs to be aware of, and he's not ready for the double peak. Impact and Nuke Dog combine for the final kill. CEX win a comfortable round, which is going to allow them to build up some bank, which is always nice. And Nerdrage there, I think, just switching up the pace. I think trying to get an aggressive round quickly on the A site, which makes some sense, I think, after the tactical timeouts taken by CEX. You want to just see if you can quickly deflate them again, quickly get back in their faces, but it doesn't work this time round. And this is where Nerdrage could maybe do with it, slowing it down in this next round.
Nerdridge starts to walk in towards middle. It's Impact just behind the smoke. He's going to be under a lot of pressure. Nowhere to hide inside the middle anymore. And we will manage one kill. Brody getting a double. We're into a 4v3. Advantage still sides with Nerdridge. Brody barely alive though, on 11. This one can definitely turn on its head, but LNZ has made himself known in towards the B-bomb site. Really getting comfortable in here now at this point. He's got so much control. They're going to have to deal with him. Stuck on the side. They had no idea, and there's the kill. The Galil sprays away. It rattles away on towards Cypher. A good kill from MT. He does well to find two here. A third kill from MT, and that is huge. Puts it into a 1v1. Murky against Tadpole. Tadpole will move back inside of the site. We'll get the bomb plant through, but now the AWPer looks for a way back in. The patience is usually a huge attribute of Murky's game. He was just waiting the smoke out, but this is smart from Tadpole. Will Murky just spam the spot? He has so many angles to check that really has to clear everything. Moving in towards the bomb site. Tadpole just hiding behind the wood. Molotov goes in towards the corner. This limits the positions, but Tadpole's playing headshot. Looking for the headshot angle. Murky not spamming anything just yet. Smokes the bomb, moves into the open, and finds the kill on Tadpole. Going back in for the defuse. There's going to be plenty of time for the AWPer of CEX. A really tough battle ensued there between the two players, but Murky's the one that comes out on top.
Yeah, again, it's a B-centric start to this game from Nerdrage. Again, they get onto the B site. This time, though, thanks to the lurk of LNZ more than anything. He played that really well to get so much ground on the B site, but a huge triple kill coming in from CEX. And then, again, the AWP rotating over from A is required to clutch, but Murky's capable of it. So it's nice having an AWPer who can win those 1v1s, that's for sure, as we see Nerdrage again up the pace with the pistols.
Well, a quick play. Impact's going to drop ping. Fraser comes in with a deagle, but Impact burns him away quickly after. Said, Tech 9 is the weapon that will get him the kill. He does have another chance here now with the M4. His teammate taking a frag on the CZ. And these pistols are proving to be very potent already. A bomb plant. This is successful already for Nerdrage, and they have a real chance to walk away with a round win. Murky back in spawn with his teammate Cypher, looking for a mistake, looking for an over-aggressive play. But again, how many times have we seen Murky be successful? Coming back into the bomb site, Cypher this time will assist him. A headshot coming in, two picked up for Cypher, and now it's only Brody, the lone CZ, as he tries to hold on. It's not the full commitment to the stick, but Brody gives away his position, and Murky is ready for the swing. The kill comes through, the round picked up. Yet again, another close one on the B-bomb site.
Yeah, I think teams are going to struggle on that CT side to figure out how to deal with those quick rushes with the pistols onto the B site, especially through mid there. They can just jump out so quickly and just overrun the B bomb site. I think the problem for CEX was they didn't have much sight on mid at the start of the round, so they quickly got flanked on the B site. They ended up losing the trades, but thankfully the retakes are definitely possible on that B site, and Cypher proves it by getting 2 huge frags to keep them on top of the round. So CEX
There's nowhere to
back
hide.
to 4-5. Yeah,
There's literally nowhere to hide on that B-bomb site. That's why you can rush onto the site, but once you get it, there's nothing you can do. Like, there's nowhere to hide. So, it's kind of strange.
yeah, I think it was kind of similar in the old version of Vertigo as well. It was pretty hard to play post-plant on B on the T side, because it's difficult to actually see the bomb from stairs all the time, and that's kind of the only place you can really play with solid cover.
Well, Cypher, another good kill. He's really a pivotal factor in their success in the last round, this time continuing into the next. Opening kill coming in, man advantage picked up for the CT side that has been held, not traded yet at all by the T side. Oh, Nuke Dog, here goes the anchor play again. Rifle back into his hand, and you can see it fits much more, fits like a glove, able to pick off the approaching players. And now a 3v5, a huge advantage here for CEX as they claw their way back in. They tie up the scoreline. It's going to be 5-5, ping the last remaining player. Murphy's on for his triple. He will collect it. That B-bomb site has started to be a cruel mistress to the Nerd Rage side. They find a lot of success, yes, taking it early on, but now they're not even finding that.
Yeah, it's really turned around on that B side of the map. It's been the main aim for Nerd Rage in the majority of these rounds. That time it felt as though the nades weren't as potent for them. They had the smoke for the generator position, which was good, but the rest of the nades weren't as on point in that round. They didn't really force Nuke Dog out of his position. It would have been nice if he could have been mollied out there. He ends up just kind of standing his ground, and CEX were very ready for that B play. They rotated over quite quickly there. So Nerd Rage, I think, are going to have to show some more facets of their game on this T side now. They've showed that B play very, very often. CEX ready for it now. They've started the quick rotations. So I think Nerd Rage have got to show us something else across the map. Maybe not in this round, though, because they've only got pistols, sadly.
Yeah, sometimes the pistols are the unsuspecting heroes, though. Fraser hitting the deck ping as well. MT able to pick up 2. I've got ourselves a 3v5. I don't think anybody is going to be able to feel confident in their T side of Vertigo just yet. Yeah, you can come into it with ideas. Yeah, you can come into it with a plan in the way that you want to approach it. But when it gets into the crucial crunch time, when they start to figure each other out, then I don't think there's going to be a solid system for anybody to fall back on just yet, because it is so fresh and the changes are made incredibly well. And I think that's when we'll start to see the T side maybe start to fall back to the old A hits, see what's going on towards there. But these pistols come out of nowhere. LNZ with 2 on the Tech 9. Now they move on towards the site. Might just get a bomb plant, but anything other than that would be an absolute miracle here for the side. Brody's going to stay back on the ramp. LNZ gets back towards short, so maybe there is a chance to win this now, Alex. The positions are assumed. Now they just have to hold off the retake.
Yeah, a couple of whiffed shots there from CEX has got Nerd Rage into this round. The smoke deployed. Murky moving in with the AWP. There's the shot he was looking for, and LNZ lines them up, but he only gets the 1 kill. Impact able to trade. CEX stay on top of the A-sided retake, even though there was a little bit of a fear that they could have lost that round. They come back into it, they get the round win, and they get themselves into the lead.
Well, CEX, it's been a long time coming. They had a little bit of a slower start, but they've ground their way back into this game. And we've seen that with Nerd Rage last week when they played against IDOS. They got off to a really good start. Things were looking good for them. But they did start to slip up around the middle of it. Then they grab control again. We'll see if they have the same resilience up against CEX. I think it's a bit of a different opponent. I don't think it's going to be quite as easy. And we certainly are seeing the match of the day deliver, Alex. It's delivering in front of our eyes. And we'll empty an Impact in a crossfire. This is nice little bait and switch setup. It's going to be Impact with the double. Runs out of ammo and the flash comes over the top. But this is just huge. Absolutely massacred on the Nerd Rage side. Fraser's going to start moving forward, and Murky's there to pick him off. Fraser hits the deck, and it's only Brody Alex 1v5. Round done. Nerd Rage get absolutely nothing in this one.
Spray from Brody is good for 1 kill on the round, but that is it. I think one of the big differences between these two teams right now has been the differences in the AWPers. Murky has been super solid, even in positions where it's not easy to use the AWP. He's been getting away with kills in these rounds. He's been left in clutches, which he's been able to win. So I always want to give an AWPer props when they can have impact on Vertigo. Whereas for Fraser, he's not been able to have as much impact with his AWP. He hasn't even got the AWP this time around because of the money. That nade, though, has just done a nice chunk of damage onto both Tadpole and LNZ as Nerd Rage try their luck back on this B site.
It's like run ahead, beat it off the wall towards A. Doesn't really work. Right, let's go B again. see if this works. Nuke Dog, though, he has been a bit of a thorn in their side, and he'll still be here, still trying to cause problems, but he's been whacked up the face by a flashbang and completely blinded for a few seconds. But finally, Nuke Dog will get a gap in the smoke to play with, and he's going to manage one. Only the one, though, so MT has to step up. He's had some important kills across the board, but it's Cypher as well, helping and assisting this B hole. And Fraser now into a 1v2, and the Galil spray is not so nice to him. He will lose that battle, and it's 8-5 with CEX winning the half.
Yeah, this is one of the things I think is a bit concerning for Nerd Rage on this map, is that Fraser has been their star AWPer throughout the season. I think he's been their best player. And on Vertigo, it's not so easy to get that AWP rolling, especially on the T side sometimes. You can't get the AWP going. He's having to go to rifles now, which clearly he didn't look too comfortable on the Galil there. So it's not going too well for Nerd Rage right now.
No, ping's 1 in 11, so also another quiet performance. MT, he's just not stopped fragging in these last couple of rounds. Fraser picked off. It's gone from bad to worse for Fraser, unfortunately. We know he's quite an emotional player as well, so he's probably thinking about this performance a little bit.
Ooh. Oh, wow, okay. Great shot from LNZ. Cypher also here, but LNZ taking faces onto the A-bomb site. The smokes are in place, so Murky's not got a great angle to work with. The AWP's trying to find a fight here. He's going forwards. He's trying to deny the bomb plant, but it's already come through. Murky now very much alone, and Brody puts him down. Nerd Rage with the advantage.
Yeah, huge kill there from Brody. Coming in, it's going to be Nuke Dog on the flank, though, trying to finish them off. He will catch Tadpole, but no one else refacing, no one giving him an opportunity up until that point where Brody swings, but Impact's coming in from behind. He looks to try and end it. He will manage one, but LNZ is continuing to thrive. That's his 3rd kill in the round, and he's done enough to scare him off. The round win should come through here for Nerd Rage. He's got himself into a good position. Nuke Dog sprinting on towards the site. LNZ will fall, but there just doesn't seem to be enough time, or is there, Alex? Just a few seconds on it, and Nuke Dog will fail to win the round. It's going to be Nerd Rage with a 6th, and that is pretty much all thanks to LNZ.
Yeah, he just makes the play by himself in that round. He was the hero AK, the only man able to buy the rifle, and he just gets those 2 headshots in quick succession. And we've seen CEX put a few of their players on the A side of the map over to that short position, over to that sidewalk position. They've been trying to hold on to that, I think partly because you can't get spams through the wood anymore, so they think they're safer there. But apparently they're not safe against LNZ's reign of terror in that round, coming away with the 3K. And now into the last round of the half, MT playing a dangerous game on the edge of this smoke.
He'll move through. Tadpole catches him. It's going to be MT falling away. Murky now holding off as they sprint towards top ramp. Murky, nice shot. Big flick to the right as Brody's being picked off. And now Murky will look to try and relocate as Cypher manages one. The kill comes through from Tadpole, and he wants more, but Murky is there again. He will pick off another. Low HP on Fraser, stuck behind the sandbags. That nade is his death sentence. And that's all on LNZ again. A 1v1 up against Murky this time, who has went nuclear for his side. It's like ships in the night. They will cross in front of each other, and there it is. LNZ, yet again, the hero that Nerd Rage need, and he's got them a 7th round to play with.
Yeah, Murky was magnificent throughout that first half. but it's not enough at the end there. LNZ, the man who was stepping up for the other team, wins the round for them. So it's an 8-7 half. It's anyone's game right now. I just got to give props, I think, to Murky, because AWPing on Vertigo is never easy with all the close range angles you have to take, or even medium range angles sometimes on that A site. As soon as you miss a shot, you basically know you're screwed. So Murky had to hit every single shot there, and he almost delivered all of them. Coming down to the clutch, you can't quite win it, but Murky's been a real consistent performer for this squad.
He's always the player. When we see the lineups before the match, we always say to keep an eye on this guy when it comes into the match, and he more than often not delivers. So definitely an exciting young player to keep a look at. And I keep saying this, but it was quite funny when we did the winter season. Now it's just seeing him just stand there with a cast on his arm. He became the coach of CEX, unfortunately. So we don't really get to see him deliver just yet to his full potential, but hopefully we will soon enough.
I do wonder whether Murky will be able to have as much impact in this second half, though, because we were talking about how it can be difficult to AWP on that T side. I
do feel like he's a pretty proficient rifler as well, though.
Yeah. Should be capable.
I think if that's what we want in a star player, though, is just being useful in every scenario. They need to be good on the deagles, they need to be good on the pistol rounds, need to be good on the rifles and the AWPs, you know? So I think Murky's a pretty well-balanced player. It's always good to have a player like that in your team.
Getting all the angles of Vertigo right now. Lovely stuff from our observer, Jakey. He has a couple of nice cam paths for this new version of Vertigo. I like it. He had that one on the B site earlier where you get the side-on view, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
There you go.
Wow. Pistol time for the second half. It's going to be CEX here with a double flash and a smoke on Nuke Dog. The rest with Kevlar. And over on Nerd Ridge, it's 3 sets of Kevlar, a defuse kit, and a nade for the hands, Fraser, and an Itchy for LNZ. As you move into an important pistol for both teams, we are split down the middle, 8-7.
Fraser going to be holding back at mid, but it's the B site where we see the early action. Brody up close with the CZ. Tadpole trying to assist him. Kill's not coming in, though. It's Murky who's pushing through mid, and LNZ is waiting. Murky, though, with the pistol, again, is having that impact you were talking about. Here comes the fight against Fraser, but Impact comes out on top, and CEX should be good to win this round. Brody is done for. He goes jumping through the smoke into his death, and Tadpole has 1 point of health versus 4 players.
Well, Tadpole, not long for the world. Around the corner.
He's never going to grow into a frog in this round, Dinko.
No, definitely not, Alex. That's our weekly pun, is it? We're just going to make frog Tadpole jokes.
It's all we got at this point.
Well, at least we got to find some sort of humor in that round, because it definitely
I've got another one,
pleasant.
Dinko. Is Ping got really high ping or something? Because he's only got 1 kill. There you go.
Haha. That's like the most Hulk joke ever, though, to be fair. So
it's not even a joke, really, is it? It's just like an observation.
No, yeah. It's a question as well. Well, unfortunately, he hasn't really done a whole lot. You know, if his ping was as good, you know, if his kills correlated to his ping, maybe he would be a little bit happier.
Maybe. Probably. Unless he's got 1 ping somehow.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Wow, 4 spy for Nerd Rage into the second round. Deegs across the board. CEX have got a couple of rifles in play, though, and they haven't got that Molotov where they wanted it, I think. I think they were practicing that molly in warm-up, and it landed in the heaven, in the new position, but not this time.
We'll take a few dry runs to get it locked down, and we'll see a lot of teams probably fail quite a bit of utility at the start of this when trying to practice. But under a minute already in play. Murky finally getting first blood drawn into the round. It's going to be LNZ, though, answering back with MT hitting the deck. A 4v4 ensues. And with 45 seconds left, the T side have congregated over towards B, where Tadpole was trying to hold on, but he's going to fall. Mac-10 gets rid of him, and now the push comes through. Ping, with only 1 kill, needs to double his kills, or maybe even more, as he looks to the left and right, but he's not landing anything. Overrun, Impact finds 2, and the round is won here by CEX.
Yeah, LNZ's been good in this game, but a 1v4 retake on the B site is not going to be one he's going to win. Maybe if he had a kit, you could maybe give him some sort of chance somehow. But he's just saving, which is the call he has to make here. Good work from CX to remain on top of the situation. Bit of a shame that they do lose this one AK, though, because they only had 2 AKs at the start of the round. So they're saving the Mac 10s right now. They're saving the Galil. And I don't think they're going to find LNZ's position. So at least something for Nerd Rage to work with in this next round. But he is very much going to have to be the hero for them into the future. I think for a couple of these Nerd Rage players, by the way, I think if just Ping and Fraser can step up slightly, the game's pretty close right now. If they can just get a few more kills on the boards, they're still in this one.
Let's be real. Hit a lot more.
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot more. Well, we have to see if they can make it happen. Fraser, definitely a solid player, just needs to get a little bit of momentum going. I'm so happy we aren't seeing the T side just spend like a minute spamming that wood now. That we're actually getting to see just fights get taken. Oh my god, okay, rip Fraser. That is just summarizing his performance here, or his time on Vertigo, just getting boosted up and just instantly domed. Now Ping trying his best, but he's been held here by Impact. He's just going to take the easy kill surely. But Ping actually escapes death for a second here. Maybe walks away with a kill, but Impact gets rid of him. And now it's all on LNZ. Left alone, 1v5. He'll manage one, at least stops the clean sheet. But CX go to 11. Money's back in the bank accounts of Nerd Ridge, though. They finally got their allowance. We'll see what they can make happen. Fraser on the AWP. Now, this is going to be a telltale factor. If Fraser can get going on this AWP, maybe there's a chance. But if not, then a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, Fraser going to be playing on this A side of the map, but with CEX having a Mac 10 in there, they might not want to go over to that A site early in this round. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some mid control, or, well, maybe we will see some A battles. Fraser misses the first shot, and that's it. He costs his life because of it. That's what I was talking about earlier. Murky was so consistently landing those shots because he needed to be. As soon as you miss one, you're kind of done, and Fraser's out of the round.
Well, I think we just need to start pointing out Fraser, because unfortunately every time we hype him up, he just kind of dies immediately. He's just not having a great time at all.
He's so good throughout the season, Dinko. This is his first bad game.
No, not in terms of like overall.
No,
I mean, just
I know.
in these rounds, these last 2 rounds,
That's
we've really
why we're
highlighted
hyping him
it.
up, though, because I thought, it's so unfortunate.
It is indeed. Well, 4v4. T-side with under a minute left. CEX start their approach in towards the top bomb site. Well, the bottom bomb site as it actually is. And it's going to be Cypher with a headshot. Ping picked off. That's another kill ladder. He's doubled them at least. And while Impact will be there for a headshot, bomb plant will come through. 2v2 retake. The CT side with a real chance finally getting around on the board, Alex.
Impact going for the fight, and he takes it. Tadpole now has to clutch for his team, and it's not going to happen for him. Impact comes away with both the kills at the end. The Impact frags to close it out. 12-7 for CEX, and that is a real kicker for Nerd Rage. That's a round that they really did not want to lose, because now they're down to pistols. They're down to a weak buy. They're likely 13-7 down in this game. It just looks like CEX are starting to take over on this T side.
Yeah, it looks like CX are going to be steamrolling their way to victory if this sort of level continues, because it hasn't really even felt competitive, unfortunately, in the last few rounds. LNZ's been pretty good. I feel like that's all we've had today, is just kind of like one guy stepping up from the team that's losing, unfortunately. There's always the potential to have a close game. It's just sometimes the individuals misfiring can cause a little bit of an issue. Now CX gather it through the new short take of the B-bomb site. It's going to be Cypher taking the headshot on towards Tadpole, not really being able to hold on, unfortunately, here. Murky through the back lines of CT is cutting off the rotations. They can't really move forward with much confidence. He will get 2 in that spray. That's a little wild.
I'm surprised he fought so hard there with the AK, because they may end up losing that, but Nuke Dog's keeping it safe for now. LNZ, who has been landing shots, now can't land shots, finally gets it to go his way. There may be an AK for him. He might try and nade the AK into his hands, but no, he's just going to walk around the corner, take the risk. Where is that AK? Did it fall off the map? Oh, it might have.
No idea where it has gone.
I don't think CEX recovered it, did they?
It might have blocked that. Yeah, because Murky's up against the wall, so it probably fell off the map, actually. There we go.
Sad times.
Murky impaled and his AK gone.
Oh, there's another double AWP set up on the CT side, Dinko. I'm scared. I'm scared for Nerd Rage.
Well, let's see if it works.
I mean, they've made
at this point, throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks.
This is what they wanted. They've made the decision, so we won't bash them for it because it may work out for them. But I don't think we're going to see many double AWP setups on this CT side.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't really lend itself. I always feel like AWPs are just useless on this map, nearly. Like, there's certain positions you could play it in, but even then, is it really worth the investment for just a few angles you can take fights with? I don't know. I think there's definitely other ways to approach it. With the Krieg, obviously gone now, that used to take up a lot of the spots that the AWPs could use. You know, the Krieg was so strong at the bottom of that A ramp, but obviously with the Krieg being nerfed, it's not as good anymore, so you might have to see a little bit more utility usage or even force a couple of players to pick up AWPs.
I wonder if Cypher got boosted up into this position on the CEX side, because Nerd Rage haven't cleared it out. They don't look too aware of it, but they do have an AWP on the B site holding that angle, so CEX need to be aware of the possibility. There's Impact looking for a head. It's not been given to him so far, but Ping might be in trouble here. Here comes the flash onto the B site.
Molotov to force Brody away. Now he's seen Nuke Dog struggle in that position on the other half. Tadpole is backing up his teammate. Cypher has been taken away, and a two-man advantage now on the CT side. Impact might just be caught because LNZ is aware of this possibility, and this round is looking good for Nerd Rage. 27 seconds, Alex. Not a whole lot of time to play with now for the T side. Impact, what a headshot. 2 kills picked up in towards the B-bomb side. There's the third. He nearly transfers back and gets the quad kill, but eventually he will fall. LNZ gets the fry game, but it's a 2v2 out of nowhere.
Oh, Impact gets his team into the round, just sitting in that smoke. He sees the players before they see him, and he gets away with the triple kill because of it. Nuke Dog playing at the back of the B-bomb site. They've just seen the AWP of Murky on the other side, so Nuke Dog may be able to be unseen in this position. The smoke goes down. Here comes the fight. Nuke Dog about to spot the shoulder. 1v2 for Fraser, moving back into the bomb site, switches out to the other AK, trying to spray, gets the first kill, but he doesn't get away with it. Murky lands another shot in the clutch. The AWP comes out on top, and CEX save themselves in that round.
14-7 CEX. That looked all but lost, but somehow Impact delivers. Impact.
There you go. Good one.
Really tried to clutch for a different word there, Alex, but you know, at the end, it was just available.
Got to do it sometimes. Yeah, that was well played by Impact, because like we've seen talked about a lot, just sitting in those smokes, you're going to see the players before they see you, and we got to see that beautifully because the CT player didn't see anything and he was basically already dead. Fraser's in trouble. Speaking of, he is now dead himself.
It's got a little bit of hot potato toes. Burned away by the Molotov. Another take of the site is in. The Molotov towards the back of the boost. Impact holding on towards the bottom of the ramp. The plank can come through. There's a chance here for LNZ, who will take away Cypher. Utility will head its way in towards the bomb site, with Impact finding that kill. They'll put Brody in a good spot. Now Tadpole and LNZ. 2v4 left between them, and Murky catches Tadpole trying to run away.
Wow. CEX going to be up to their 15th round here. LNZ, again, the only player getting a kill in this round for Nerd Rage. He's tried his best, but his best has not been enough to get Nerd Rage the round wins they've wanted. Oh, wow. That shot somehow did 5 damage to MT. Doesn't matter, though, because Murky is there with the AWP. Another kill on the board for the AWPer, who's been so damn good for CEX. Impact has also been great. 23 kills for him. The entire team have had moments where they've stepped up. And it looks almost certain that CEX will be taking this one over the line right now.
Yeah, it's been a huge turnaround from them and very impressive showing, I think it's fair to say, from CEX, because there was a time when they were looking pretty pretty out of it. Not really too comfortable. It definitely looked like Nerd Ridge with a more comfortable team on Vertigo, but CEX dug deep and turned things around, but it might not just be over yet. Still a 5v4. Man advantage picked up for Nerd Ridge.
Impact so quick on the trigger, but Ping comes into play in this round. 2 kills on the board, doubling his kills in this very round. Murky, though, getting one back over on the A side of the map. And CEX are still in this round. A 2v3 for them, and they give the AWP to the low health player. MT on 19 HP is going to have his turn to try and use the sniper.
Well, good kill from Murky. Ping picked off through the smoke. All right, Murky, I think he got a kill through the smoke in the last round as well. A 2v2, CEX. If they make this happen, that'll be the most heartbreaking way for Nerd Ridge to lose. Even with Ping stepping up, finally getting 2 more kills onto the board in this round. This is his most impactful he's had so far. To lose in this fashion, that would be very unfortunate. And well, they do move their way in towards the A site. Smoke up, shoot aloud for the bomb plant here from MT. He'll move on through, gets it planted. Now they have to hold on. This Molotov heading in towards the bomb site. Follow up, it could have caught MT, but now it's the 2v2. Lucky to just hold on as the Molotov burns away in the middle of the site. Nerd Ridge have 2 players reaggressing back in from the elevator and the back of the boost. As they move through, LNZ, the first man facing, he will catch Murky, playing an advanced angle, who actually managed to take away Tadpole. LNZ's been on point and he makes it happen again. The 1v1 and he keeps his team alive. The dream is still intact.
Yeah, good decision from LNZ just to play for retake there on the A site. You can definitely play it for the retake scenario. It's a big risk there to just try and solo fight on the site. So I like how patient LNZ was there in the first place as he waits for Tadpole to rotate over. And then he won that first fight on short, which was massive. That was one he needed to win. Turns it into the 1v1 and keeps his cool. So Nerd Rage, not out of contention just yet, but they are very much hanging on by the skin of their teeth right now. And that shows in their buy into this round. They may have the AWP, but they've also got 2 MP9s on Brody and Tadpole, which isn't great. What is great, though, is the early damage they've done. Tadpole quickly gets the kill.
Oh, nice relocation of the crosshair from Murky. Flicks over and catches Brody. And that is not the way you want to be losing your life. Murky very, very quick to react.
He's on a massacre, Dinko. He's got 29 kills.
Is. Playing like a beast. Oh, well, Impact continues to play well as well. 25 kills on the board.
It's Murky and Impact pushing mid right now. If I were Nerd Rage, I would be scared of those two. CTs are very stacked on the B side of the map right now. They think they've got this read on point. They may have, but Impact just keeps on winning fights. 2v3 now for Nerd Rage to try and come back into this round, and they are going to start to group up for this B-sided play.
CX move forward. It's going to be Ping who gets rid of Nuke Dog. MT able to trade back in. Ping got. Now, a 1v2. The CT side looking for the retake. It's LNZ alone. The man has done everything for his team. The only shining light, really, for the most of the game. And he's going to run through the Molotov. They know where he is due to the ticks and the sound, and they'll throw another one onto the side itself. LNZ is trying his best, but it's not enough. CEX will walk away with the win. Nerd Ridge will lose 16-8. And that is not the performance that they would have been hoping for coming into the match of the day, Alex. We always seem to scud it. We always seem to ruin the match of the day by picking it to be the match of the day. Maybe we should just pick the worst map of the day to be the match to watch.
This time, though, Dinko, it was the closest match of the day, technically. So that there wasn't really any good choices for close games, for hard-fought games.
It was Vertigo, at least. We got to see 2 of them. And I mean, that was a pretty impressive showing across the board on Vertigo. I was very excited to get to see some. And we did see a different approach, a few different approaches in towards that B-bomb side. Big fan of the boost, the sneaky play with the pistol rushes as well. They're pretty cool. But I think a lot of teams need to figure out, is AWPing really going to be viable? Double AWP setups definitely look completely unviable for the most part. And just retakes on this B-bomb side are pretty fun to watch because they seem to happen so often.
Yeah, a lot of those retakes were very chaotic as well, because like you were saying earlier, you kind of just have to fight on the bomb site, I think, is on the T side. So you just get a bunch of battles all over the place on that B site, which is very cool to see. I mean, there were huge rounds for both teams on the B site, but CEX generally ended up getting the better of it, which is obviously why they went on to win this game. Great stuff overall. Murky was just unbelievably good throughout this game. I was pointing him out on the CT side and saying he was doing well, but I didn't expect him to almost exceed that in the second half.
Yeah, the crazy thing is when he came into the second half, we were like, okay, AWPing sometimes isn't as viable on this the T side. But Murky shows up and delivers yet again. I think this guy just is overall a pretty nuts player, I think we have to say. And I think he shows it week in, week out. So definitely a consistent star of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Impact was right there with him having big rounds. So CEX, they had the firepower here. They definitely come across as a team that have good team play for the most part as well. There were maybe a couple of rounds where they missed nades, but I think the spacing and the teamwork is very, very good as well. So overall, very good stuff from CEX. And they're looking like they're going to be towards the top of the table based on this, because they've just been great throughout the season.
I think they're looking like the most solid team at the moment. I think even more solid than Endpoint. And Endpoint looked good today, but not so much in the previous matches. So we'll have to see if that level continues. We have got the player of the match available to you. You can see below the screen. We've got Impact, Murky, and LNZ. Now, these three players on that, I don't think it's much of a surprise. Murky clearly was just having a beast of a game, but Impact, some very crucial rounds where he delivered. LNZ, sadly, was doing everything for his team, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, LNZ kind of flying under the radar a bit there in our post-match discussion, just because the other players were so good. But he was definitely great. On the T side, he was lurking on B a lot. He was having impact there with some of those plays. And then on that CT side, on the A side, he was the main man delivering. So he was very good on a losing team.
Well, you did say earlier that we had a lot of one-sided affairs today, but let's take a quick reminder to sort of look back on some of those massacres. Now, we started the day with Endpoint versus IDOS, and it didn't really feel like a game. It started off well for IDOS, but they only managed 5 rounds on the board, and then Endpoint destroyed them.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like a game, is maybe a bit harsh, but I see where you're coming through. It was a very one-sided one. And then we had Reason, similarly in that second game, they ended up having a huge win against Pensioners, and that one almost felt more one-sided, because after Pensioners came out to that early 5-0 lead, nothing ended up happening for them. They ended up only getting 2 more rounds throughout the entire game. Reason just back to their best, which is exactly what we were hoping to see from this squad once we were starting this season. But it's taken them a bit longer than we wanted for them to really get there.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at how these results shape the standings. Now, every week we get excited at looking at the standings to see how they look, and they're always changing. Teams definitely fighting for those top spots. Now, we take a look here. CEX find themselves at the top, above Reason Gaming with 15 points. Round wins has put them there. And obviously, Reason Gaming in second place, 5 wins, 1 loss. Nerd Rage, they will stay in third, 4 wins, 2 losses. Endpoint, they will get a win today, and a very important win, because this team are in a bit of a downhill spiral sometimes in a couple of these weeks. So it's good to see them back and fighting strong this week. 12 points to the board with IDOS, VAC, and the Pensioners all in the bottom 3 spots. So, Alex, I think we just got another good week at the Prem. Definitely starting to heat up, and some of these teams will definitely be chopping and changing towards the top.
Yeah, and we're seeing some of the individual results previously in the season kind of come into play now, because Nerd Rage there, the team that were ahead of Endpoint, were one of the teams that beat them earlier in the season. So some of the slip-ups from the expected favorites like Endpoint are really costing them right now. They're not in the top spots they're used to being in, and clearly it's going to show that the UK scene isn't as weak across the board, right? That there are real competitors here, and they can't just take their foot off the gas for any of these games.
Well, that concludes the show, Alex. That is it. So I have to just do nothing but thank everybody who makes the show possible. Starting with yourself, obviously, thank you very much for joining me, all the production team, and most importantly, the sponsors that make the show continue online. We've got the likes of Intel, AOC Gaming, Stakester, Razer, and Parsec. So thank you very much to all of the sponsors for making the Prem continue. And thank you at home for watching. We'll be back next week with the rest of the Prem, so make sure you tune in, same time, same place. Stay with us.
Bugaboo! That's why you don't f with the big dog. Now listen here, you.
Tired of spanking your mates week in, week out? Come on! This sad little loser online from Albuquerque, New Mexico, without any rewards other than glory? Try Stakester now. Start using your legendary skills and making some real motherfucking money. Go on. Press it.
Parsec lets you play your entire library of games on any device, anywhere, with anyone, at any time. It's easy. Install Parsec and boom, your PC game library is at your fingertips. Are you bored playing solo? Share a link with anyone and go multiplayer. No friends online? Jump into Parsec's arcade and play with people from all around the world. Parsec's available for most things with screens. Download now.